My beloved child, I know you have walked long roads through the night, where prayers seemed to fade into the air and hope felt like a distant echo of yesterday. I know there were nights you lay there, staring at the ceiling in silence, your eyes open in the dark, whispering, "Lord, are you still there?" I heard that cry not only with my ears but with my heart. Every trembling breath of yours resounded in heaven. Every tear that fell I caught in the cup of my mercy. You thought you were alone, but it was in that very solitude that I was closer to you than ever before. There are pains you carry in your body, and there are wounds deeper, still ones that do not appear on the skin. They are cracks within the soul places, where cold words, betrayal, or accumulated disappointments have left their mark. You have prayed for me to heal your body, but I want you to know this. I did not come only to touch your flesh, but to resurrect your spirit. For if the soul is not restored, healing of the body is but temporary. I long to give you wholeness, a peace no one can take, a light that shines through even the darkest chambers of your heart. My child, pause and listen. There is a voice calling not from without, but from deep within you. It is my voice, the voice of healing. It is gentle as the morning breeze, yet powerful as an unquenchable flame. That voice calls you home, not to a place, but to me. For in me, pain finds meaning, tears find purpose, and what seems lost becomes the seed of a new season. You have asked, why don't you heal me right away? And I want you to understand, sometimes the miracle is not in the moment, but in the journey. There are things I do not remove immediately, because through them you are being shaped to resemble me. Just as a blacksmith forges a sword in the fire, I am shaping your soul in the furnace of faith. Every crack, every waiting, every sigh is forming the person I designed from the very beginning. I have seen you try to smile while your heart still bleeds. I have watched you rise after falling again and again, yet still choosing to believe. That moves heaven deeply. The angels have recorded every moment you chose to believe, without seeing to pray, without receiving to give thanks, while still in pain. For that is true faith, the kind no storm can sweep away. Scripture says the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalm 3:4-1-8. Do you know, my child, that it is in the very place of your brokenness that I find the soil for miracles to grow? Sometimes you mistake my silence for absence, but in that silence, I am speaking the language of divine arrangement. When you hear nothing, it is not because I am silent, it is because I am working in depths where words cannot reach. Imagine a gardener planting seeds. He cannot dig them up every day to see if they are sprouting, for doing so would kill them. In the same way, I am working quietly, steadily in the dark, so that when the appointed time comes, new life will spring forth stronger than ever. I know there are moments when you grow too weary, even to pray. You sigh and think, surely God must be tired of hearing me. But my child, I never tire of your voice. On the contrary, every time you call, I draw near. Even when all you can whisper is, "Help me," heaven receives it with holy reverence. For I do not ask for polished words, I seek a sincere heart. It is in your weakness that my power is made perfect. It is in your helplessness that my grace overflows. When you cannot walk, I will carry you. When you collapse, I will sit beside you, wipe your tears and whisper, you are not alone. The healing I give is not the escape from pain, but the ability to see the sacred purpose within it. See, some tears have become the seeds of compassion. Some losses have widened your capacity to love. You are no longer who you once were, for in suffering you have learned to love without demanding to trust, without proof to hope, when every door seems closed. You thought you were broken, but I have been using those very fragments to craft a new mosaic, one more beautiful, more radiant, more profound. Know this, my child, no pain is meaningless, no tear is forgotten. Every ache opens a door to something new. Just as a seed must die before it can sprout, Your soul is passing through a season of breaking to prepare for a season of abundance. Do not fear the days when you feel weak, for that is when I am near. Do not fear the silence, for that is when I speak in ways words cannot. Do not fear delay, for within it your faith is maturing. You are being healed, not just restored. And when the dawn comes, you will realize you never walked through the night alone. My beloved child, let me touch your pain. Do not hide it. Do not deny it. Offer it to me not to complain, but so that I may turn it into a testimony of heaven's mercy. For when you allow me to step into the darkest corners of your heart, light will begin to shine in places you never thought could be bright again. I am not afraid of your wounds. I am not repelled by your weakness. On the contrary, I call those places the ground where I perform miracles. My dear, I once walked this earth in human form to feel every ache, every tear, every fear you now bear. I once stood before the tomb of my friend and wept. I once endured the whip, the humiliation, and the nails of the cross, so that you might know I am not distant from human pain. I carried the wounds so that you might be healed. I bore the sin so that you might be free. Therefore, do not think that I do not understand. I understand far beyond what words could express. Come near to me, not with strength as your shield, but with truth in your heart. Let me embrace your soul in the arms of comfort. Let me teach you that healing is not merely the disappearance of pain, but the return of hope. When you lift your head in faith amid the storm, when you choose to praise me, even while your tears still fall, that is when healing has already begun. You are stepping into the process of a miracle, even if you cannot yet see it. O my soul, you do not have to be perfect to be loved. I do not love you because you are strong. I love you even when you tremble. I did not choose you because you were complete. I chose you so that I might make you complete. You are a masterpiece still in progress, shaped by the hands of the Creator. And I promise you this, I will finish the good work I have begun with you. No power, no failure, no sickness can stand against it. Open your heart to hear the whisper of life in the wind. Allow my spirit to move through every chamber of your soul where fear once dwelled. Let my light kindle in the places where darkness once reigned. For I am the one who makes all things new. I am the one who turns ashes into glory, tears into pearls, and suffering into songs of redemption. The healing I promise is not a sudden spell, but a journey of love. A journey where you learn to trust, to wait, and to see me in what once seemed shattered. Each day you choose to believe, to love, to forgive, to keep walking forward, you draw closer to full restoration. I call you by name. I know every breath, every thought, every word you have not dared to speak. And still I choose you. I see you not only in the light, but also in the shadow, and I still say, you are mine. So do not fear. Trust me, healing is nearer than you think. And when it comes, you will not only be healed, you will be transformed. For my healing is not merely the end of pain, but the beginning of a new life, a life of peace, freedom, and light. Even now, as you read these words, as your heart stirs within you, that is the sign that I am touching you. O weary soul, rest in my embrace. I am the still water, the shade at noonday, the breath of life itself. Let me heal not only your body, but also the barren fields of your heart. For in me, everything broken is made whole again, and everything lost is replaced with something better. My beloved child, I know there are days when you look up to the heavens and wonder why your prayers seem unanswered. You have once held tightly to a promise, but the long waiting has wearied your heart. You feel as though you stand in a desert where every sound is swallowed by silence. You begin to think, I have forgotten you, that your prayers have risen only to vanish among the clouds. But my child, know this. Heaven's delay is never heaven's denial. It is the rhythm of a greater design where every moment is perfectly aligned for your good. Faith is not born in days of peace. It is forged in the storm where reason falters and only the heart clings to the unseen. When you pray and nothing seems to change, the entire universe is still moving in response to your cry. Every force of light, every angel, every current of grace begins to turn toward the direction of that prayer. No prayer is ever forgotten. It is being woven into the divine timeline where everything unfolds at the appointed time. I know you long to see results at once because you hurt, because you fear, because you are tired. But if I were to give you the miracle before your spirit is strong enough to carry it, the gift would soon fade. Delay is the soil where faith takes root. It does not kill your prayer, it matures it. Remember, the seed of faith germinates only in the dark. No one sees it growing, yet it quietly pushes through layers of earth toward the light. When you pray for healing, I not only hear your words, I see what lies beneath them, the fear, the doubt, and the memories you have not dared to touch. I know you wish to escape the pain, but I want you to know something deeper. Healing is not just the end of illness, it is the rebirth of your soul, and such rebirth cannot be rushed. Just as clay must pass through fire to be made strong, your spirit must walk through seasons of waiting to be refined in the light. Faith is the medicine your soul needs. It not only soothes the pain, but reshapes your inner being. When you choose to believe, even when you cannot see, you allow light to enter the darkest parts of your heart. Faith lets you see the unseen as though it were already real. Faith turns promises into reality because it is anchored in the one who never breaks his word. Faith is the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews 1:1. Every time you say, I still believe, even through your tears, you move all of heaven. When you offer thanksgiving while the wound still bleeds, you become like me, for even on the cross I gave thanks to the Father while the pain had not yet ceased. Faith does not erase reality, but it gives you new eyes to see meaning in everything. I do not want you to pray only to escape suffering. I want you to learn to walk with the assurance that even in your suffering I am still working. O faithful soul, do not let discouragement take root in you. You think nothing is changing, yet you do not see what is happening behind the sacred veil. There are things I am moving away that you do not know. Old energies, toxic connections, memories that bind you to the past. I am clearing the space so that the miracle may fully dwell within. If I were to hasten, you would receive only a portion of what I intend to give. But because I love you, I choose to move slowly, so that the gift may be complete and the blessing enduring. Do you remember the seed I once spoke of? When it lies in the soil surrounded by darkness, dampness, and silence, it does not realize that it is in the process of life. It only feels lost. Yet even then, transformation is taking place. The hard shell begins to crack so that the life within can emerge. Likewise, when you feel as though you are breaking apart, you are actually being born into something new. Those cracks are not failures. They are the doors through which light enters. Do not fear the waiting, for it is the ground of miracles. No one sees the sap rising within the tree, but in season it blooms. No one hears the heartbeat in the mother's womb, but in time the child cries out to life. Everything that belongs to life requires time. And if the life within you comes from me, it too will unfold according to the season I have appointed. Trust me, for I am never late. I arrive at the moment when your heart is soft enough to receive the new and strong enough to hold the blessing. I have seen you compare yourself to others. You see them restored, blessed, delivered, and you whisper, "What about me?" But my child, my plan for each soul is unique. As every star has its own light, as every flower has its own fragrance, so your journey carries its own beauty. You are not delayed. You are being prepared. If I had blessed you at the same time as them, you might have thought it was by your effort, not by grace. But because I love you, I have let you wait, so that when the blessing comes, you will know that all glory belongs to me. I know there are times you pray with trembling hands, afraid that believing again might lead to disappointment. But my dear one, know this: I never abandon anyone who puts their trust in me. Even if you have only a flicker of hope left, I will breathe my life into it. I do not ask for perfect faith. I ask for the smallest fragment you still possess. Just as a mustard seed can move mountains, so your tiny faith can open the gates of heaven. Do not fear the long days that show no result. Let them become the place where I teach you to listen with your spirit, not your ears. When you stop chasing after miracles, you will realize that the true miracle is my presence itself. When you stop asking when and begin to say, I believe, you have already crossed the threshold of healing. For miracles do not happen when the pain is gone, but when you find me in the midst of it. O weary soul, pause for a moment. Breathe. Feel the gentleness of my spirit surrounding you. Not every silence is empty. Some silences are full of life, like the stillness before dawn, like the moment before a seed breaks open, like the hush before a wound closes. That silence is not absence, it is preparation. I am reshaping your heart so that it can hold the greater blessing I have prepared. When you are ready, you will understand every delay carries love within it. If I make you wait, it is because I want you to receive what is whole, not what is temporary. If I let you pass through pain, it is because I know you will emerge with a strength you never knew before. Your faith is becoming a shield, transforming you into a living testimony of grace. So keep believing, even without evidence. Keep singing even when your voice trembles. Keep praying even if it's only through a fragile breath. Every prayer you offer is engraved upon the palms of my hands. Every moment of patience is one step closer to your miracle. Do not worry, you do not walk alone. I go before you to prepare the way. I walk beside you to sustain you. I follow behind you to protect you. Heaven's delay is never forgetfulness. It is proof of my deep love, of the patience I am cultivating within you, and of the miracle taking form in silence. Believe that everything I do, though you may not yet understand it, bears the mark of goodness. For in the end you will look back and see that it was in the days when nothing seemed to happen that the wonder was being planted. It was in the moments when you felt weakest that my strength was revealed most clearly. And when the season of waiting is over, you will realize that your faith has not only brought healing, but has opened the door to a new life. A life that knows how to believe, to love, and to rest in me. My beloved child, do you know what truly begins a miracle? Not when symptoms disappear, nor when light breaks through the darkness, but when your heart begins to open even just a little, so that I may touch it. Miracles are not born from thunder or mighty winds, but from the quiet moment when your soul whispers, I still believe. In that very moment, the seed of divine life is sown within you, and from there the process of restoration begins. You once thought healing came from the outside, from medicine, from prayer, from sudden deliverance. But I tell you, this true healing always begins within. It is not your body that is healed first, but your soul. For the body merely reflects what the soul carries. When your spirit is touched, everything else aligns. When the root is healed, the branches will flourish. When the spring is pure, the stream will run sweet. So do not search for miracles far away. Let me touch the deepest places within you, the old wounds still asleep. The fears disguised as calm, the memories that have never fully wept their last tear. You asked, my Lord, how will I know when you are touching my soul? And I said to you, it is not an explosion of feelings, but a subtle stirring within. It may be that moment when you stop resisting. When you exhale and realize you do not need to understand everything, you only need to let my love flow in. It is when your tears fall not from despair, but because you feel my presence within that very pain. When you stop asking why and begin to whisper, please stay with me, my child. That is when the miracle has begun. I know you have feared facing yourself. You were afraid that if you looked too deep inside, you would find things you could not bear, old wounds, mistakes, failures. But my dear one, I do not touch your soul to condemn you, but to resurrect you. I do not shine light to expose your shame, but to set you free. My light does not come to accuse, but to heal. For only when truth is brought into the open can you breathe again. Do not fear the light. It has not come to destroy you, but to burn away the chains that have bound you for too long. O weary soul, you have carried the weight of your past long enough. I have seen the times you smiled just to move on while inside your heart were fractures no one could see. You tried to be strong so no one would worry, but in that strength you locked yourself into loneliness. I did not create you to bear everything alone. You were not born to suffer in silence. You were made to walk with me. When I said, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest," Matthew 1:1-8, it was not a symbolic promise, it was a living invitation. Let me walk through every corner of your heart, even those rooms you closed because of fear. Let me open the chambers of your soul where light has never entered. Do not shrink back when I touch those places. It may hurt, but it is the pain of healing, like a wise physician who removes what is decaying so the wound may close. I am doing the same for your soul. Every wound you offer to me becomes evidence of life. Every tear you shed becomes a precious jewel on the crown of courage. You do not know how deeply I love the tears of faithfulness. When you cry and still believe you are offering me the highest form of worship, because at that moment you do not need proof or evidence, you only need me, and I am there. When your soul trembles with pain, yet your lips still say, "I know, you are good," that is when the miracle begins to sprout. My child, the words you speak through tears carry more power than 1,000 sermons within the temple, for they are born from the truest place where you and I meet, not through words, but through breath. I see you learning to trust amidst adversity. Each morning you wake, though weary, you still pray. Even when you feel nothing, you still lift your praise. When there is no light, you still walk in faith. You think you are stagnant, but you are growing. For spiritual maturity does not come from moments of excitement, but from hours of quiet faithfulness. In that steady rhythm, your soul is being reshaped. And one day you will realize what you once called meaningless waiting was the classroom where I was teaching you to become like me. Child, miracles are not always loud. Sometimes they are simply this: being able to breathe without fear, to sleep without nightmares, to smile without pretending. A miracle is when you begin to say thank you instead of why. It is when you see that the old pain no longer rules you. It may begin with something small, like waking one morning with peace for no reason. That is when your soul has been touched and new life is quietly flowing through you. Look back at your journey. Every wound, every fall, every moment you thought you had lost everything, all have led you here where you can feel my life in every cell. Not one drop of pain was wasted. Each tear was a stream feeding into the ocean of faith, and I have used those very rivers to water the seeds of miracles within you. When you no longer need everything to go right in order to still believe you have touched the secret of the kingdom, do not fear the transformation that is coming, my child. You may feel different, lighter, deeper, quieter, and that is real. When I touch the soul, the old self begins to dissolve and the new one is formed. Perhaps what once thrilled you no longer holds you. Old ties fade away. That is not loss. It is restructuring. I am changing the blood of your soul. I am altering the frequency within you so that you may resonate with heaven. When the soul has been touched, you will see that healing is not a moment, but a way of living. You will begin to see everything differently. Another's pain will no longer frighten you, but awaken compassion. Delay will no longer breed despair, but teach patience. Trials will cease to be enemies and become companions that make you stronger. My child, this is the true miracle, when the heart learns to love again, when the soul learns to trust again, when you can laugh amid the storm. I am shaping you into a vessel of light. What was once shattered is being mended with gold. not to hide the cracks, but to make them more beautiful, more radiant, more enduring. For in my kingdom, cracks are not marks of shame. They are the places where light passes through. When others look at you, they will not just see one who has been healed, but a soul once broken now shining in the brilliance of grace. My child, you are entering a new season, a season of resurrection. It is not only your body that is being renewed, but your entire being. Every cell within you is aligning itself with the rhythm of life. Every thought that once carried anxiety is now being replaced by peace. Every fear that once bound you is being drawn away by light. Let the miracle begin to take root even when your eyes cannot yet see it. Keep believing, for the very act of holding on to faith is the sign that I am near. O beloved soul, you have endured many long nights, and now the dawn is drawing close. Let me lead you out of the darkness and into the light that I have prepared for you. Let me rewrite your story, not with tears, but with life. I am making all things within you new, and one day you will see that the moment your soul was touched, the universe around you also began to change. The miracle is not distant, my child. It has already begun in this very breath, in this heartbeat, in the quiet moment when you whisper, I still believe. My beloved, there are flames that come not to destroy, but to illuminate. There are storms that come not to sweep away, but to clear the path. There are trials that come not to weaken you, but to awaken within you a strength you never knew existed. And I say to you, this season of fire, the very one you are walking through, is not punishment, but purification. Fire does not only consume, it transforms. It reveals the true gold by separating it from the impurities. And within this fire your faith is being refined like pure gold before it is set upon the crown of glory. My child, I know how fierce the flame feels. I have seen your tears when everything you once leaned on began to melt away. You have lost people, dreams, and certainties that you thought you could not live without. But my beloved, this is necessary so that you may be free. I have had to burn away the chains you could not see, the beautiful bindings, the invisible cords that tied your soul to things smaller than your destiny. Some things can only be released through fire, for only in the heat can the true be separated from the false. I do not use fire to destroy you. I use it to shape you. When the fire comes, you feel as though you are losing control, but in truth you are being placed into the arms of the one who governs all things. You think everything is falling apart, but I am dismantling the fragile foundations to build a new one, strong, sacred, and unshakable. You will never know how strong you are until the flame touches you. Yet remember this, I am the flame that cannot be consumed. Just as the burning bush appeared before Moses aflame but never destroyed, so am I burning within your life, not to annihilate you, but to reveal my eternal presence. O soul of mine, you have asked, Lord, why me? Why do others seem to rest in peace while I am placed within the fire? And I say to you, because I see within you something more precious than gold. I refine gold, not stone. Stone lies dormant in the ground, but gold must pass through the fire to shine. If you are walking through flames, it is proof that something sacred within you is being revealed. Without fire, you would never know the radiance that dwells in your soul. Do not see the fire as your enemy. See it as your teacher. It teaches you what is true and what is illusion. It teaches you to release what you once clung to out of fear, so that you may realize that I alone am the one who cannot be taken from you. When I said I will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver, Malachi 3:3, it was not a threat but a promise. The silversmith never turns away from the fire while the silver is being refined. His eyes remain fixed upon it. He knows the exact moment to remove it, for if he waits too long it will be ruined. So it is with me. I never take my eyes off you. I know what degree of heat is needed. I know when your strength has reached its fullness, and I know the perfect moment to draw you out brighter, purer, and stronger than before. There will be days when you feel as though you are melting, when your soul can bear no more. You will whisper, "Lord, I cannot." And I will answer, "I know, but I can." When you can no longer stand, I will carry you through the fire. When you cannot pray, I will pray within you through groanings too deep for words. When all you have left are tears, I will turn them into jewels. You are not being consumed by this fire, my child. You are being reborn in it. Look at the ashes around you, and do not fear them, for where there is ash, there is proof that the old has been burned away. Ashes are not the end, they are the soil of new beginnings. I will use what seemed destroyed to prepare the ground for the harvest to come. You think you are losing, but in truth you are being made ready. Your old dreams are not dead. They are being restructured to align with my divine plan. I never take away without giving something greater, more beautiful, and more holy in return. When the holy fire passes through, I do not only change your circumstances, I change you. That fire burns away the lies you once believed, that you are not enough, that you are unworthy of love, that your past has already determined your future. Every falsehood is consumed, and in its ashes my truth rises like tender grass. You begin to see that you no longer need to chase acceptance, for you have found your worth in my eyes. You no longer fear the darkness, for you know the light within you cannot be extinguished. You no longer fall apart over what was lost, because you understand that what is gone was only a temporary shell of protection, while the essence of who you are, the soul shaped by my hands, remains unbroken. I want you to understand this. The fire of testing is not merely an examination, it is an anointing ceremony. No one receives a crown without first walking through the furnace. The burns of today will become the marks of tomorrow's anointing. I am placing within you a strength that no one can steal. Others will see the light of your life and ask, "How do you still stand?" And you will answer, "Because I have walked through the fire with him." Remember Daniel and his friends in the fiery furnace. The flames were heated 7 times hotter, yet they were not consumed, for there was a fourth figure among them, one like the Son of God. I am that one standing in the midst of the fire with you. The very flame you fear most is the place where my presence is clearest. And when you emerge, not only will you be untouched, you will not even carry the smell of smoke. You will bear the fragrance of heaven, the scent of victory, the aroma of faith refined. While you are still in the fire, I am preparing a crown for you, not a crown of fame, but a crown of light. That light will not only shine upon you, but will shine through you. When you speak, peace will flow. When you pray, the heavens will respond. When you walk, the earth will recognize the footsteps of one who has passed through fire and not been destroyed. And when you look back, you will see that the very fire you feared most was what brought you closest to me. The place where you thought you would fall was where I gave you new wings. For there is no resurrection without a cross, no dawn without the night, and no glory without the fire. Stand firm in the midst of the flames. Do not run from them. Let them consume the old, so that my light may be revealed in the new. For when the fire has passed, you will not only survive, you will be transformed. You will carry within you a radiance that darkness cannot touch. You will become the living testimony that God is not only the one who delivers from the fire, but the one who walks within it. And then you will understand fire does not destroy you, it makes you shine. My beloved child, the fire you are walking through is neither random nor endless. Every flame in my hands has purpose, and no fire burns longer than it must. I govern both the heat of the trial and the hour of deliverance. I know precisely when the gold has become pure enough, when faith has matured, and when your soul has been shaped into the form I designed. When the fire finishes its work, divine light will begin to radiate from within you. Listen carefully. Fire does not come to destroy the soul, but to strip away the layers that keep it from shining. Like a silversmith refining silver, I heat it not to dissolve it, but to remove the dross that has clung to it over the years. So too I allow your soul to walk through the fire to separate you from what no longer belongs. Fear, guilt, bitterness, the memories that have become chains. And when those layers melt away, the pure essence remains reflecting my image. That is when I know the work is complete. You ask, how will I know when the fire is done? My child, you will know when you can look back on what once hurt you and feel no resentment. When you can remember those who betrayed you and your heart remains at peace. When you can stand amid loss and still give thanks. Then you will know the fire has finished its work. There is no need to burn anymore, for the fire has become light, light that guides, not scorches. My beloved, I know there were moments when you thought you would be consumed. You cried, Lord, please extinguish this fire, but I did not, because I saw the gold still hidden within you. I heard your cry, I saw your tears, but I also saw what you could not yet see, the strong, radiant, purified soul forming in the ashes. Just as a refiner knows the silver is ready, when he can see his reflection on its molten surface, I too see my image emerging in you through the fire. When I see that reflection, I know the work is nearly complete. You once feared the fire, thinking it would take everything from you. But my child, I only let the fire touch what cannot journey with you into the future. Those things were not evil, they were simply finished. I am not taking away what is precious. I am making you lighter. You cannot fly while burdened with what was. So I burned it not to hurt you, but to help you rise. And you cried, Lord, where were you when I was burning? And I answered, I was right there in the flames, guarding them, so they would burn only the old, never the sacred part of you. You did not see it, but I knelt beside you in the night of your tears. I placed my invisible hand over your heart so it would not shatter completely. Every tear you shed I gathered and turned into radiant gems set into the crown you will wear on the day of restoration. Not a single tear is wasted, my child. In my kingdom, every sorrow is transformed into beauty. When the fire's work is complete, the soul cannot return to what it was. It cannot. What has been refined can never become raw again. The trial has restructured you. It has changed the tone of your voice, the brightness of your gaze, the rhythm of your heart's love. Now you carry within you a light that darkness cannot touch, for it does not come from the world, it comes from me. When others look at you, they will see me within you. That is the seal of transformation. At times you will look back and say, I wish I had never walked through the fire, but my beloved, without the fire, you would never have known the worth of light. You would not have known how deeply you could forgive, how fiercely you could love, or how steadfastly you could believe. Without the fire, you would have remained inside the safe shell of reason, never realizing your soul had wings. And when you rise, you will understand the fire did not kill you. It gave you the strength to soar from the ashes. Look back to David, Joseph, and Moses. Look back to David, to Joseph, to Moses. None of them received grace without first walking through the fire of betrayal, the fire of waiting, the fire of solitude. Yet it was those very flames that shaped them into instruments of glory. For only when the soul is tested does it learn whom it truly trusts. And when they emerged from the fire, their words carried power, their hands carried blessing, their breath carried life. I am doing the same in you, my child, creating within you a light that will never fade, so that you may not only be saved, but become one who saves. When the fire has finished its work, you will see something profound. The very things that once frightened you will now make you grateful. You will thank me for the doors that closed, for the people who left, for the things that shattered. For you will understand that without those endings, you would never have been led to the place where I am taking you. You will see that behind every loss, there was a melody of meaning, and I am the conductor guiding every note until the entire symphony can only be called by one name: grace. Let me say this, with the gentleness of heaven itself, you are not tested to prove your worth, but to reveal my glory. The trial is not a test for you, it is my declaration that you are strong enough to be entrusted with something greater. I do not send fire to fragile souls, for they would be consumed. I send fire to those who carry royal seed, that the seed might awaken. And you, my child, are one of those souls. When the fire is done, you will emerge not only healed but reborn, not only forgiven but transformed, not only restored but anointed. You will carry the fragrance of heaven, the scent of one who has walked through fire and not been burned, who has wept but still believed, who has lost yet still loved. Your eyes will grow clearer, your words deeper, and your soul will resonate like a bronze bell, each echo a testimony that God has done wonders within you. Do not fear if a few embers still glow. Do not think I have forgotten to extinguish them. Those embers are the light that will guide your path. Every time you face another shadow, they will remind you you have overcome before. You will look into that light and smile, saying, "The fire no longer frightens me. I have walked through it, and I have seen God within it." You will realize that the miracle was never the fire stopping, but that you sang in the midst of it. The miracle was not the storm ceasing, but that you found peace within it. The miracle was not the darkness vanishing, but that the light within you became stronger than the dark. That is the summit of transformation, when your soul no longer fears the night, for it knows that divine light never dies. Never forget, the fire has no power over you anymore. It has finished its work. Now you are the light. Wherever you go, every place your feet touch will be illuminated. Those who are still in their own fires will find hope in you, because in your eyes they will see what they have been longing to find, the proof that God truly turns ashes into beauty and fire into light. Therefore stand tall, O trembling soul. The fire has completed its purpose. Now is the hour of light, and you, my beloved, you are that light. My beloved child, lift up your eyes and see the ashes around you are not the end. They are the soil where new life is preparing to rise. You thought the fire had taken everything, but within those gray remnants I am planting something new. When you feel stripped bare, it is not because you are forsaken. It is because everything unnecessary has been burned away, so that I may begin again with your soul in perfect purity. Every great beginning is born after a season of breaking, and my child, you are standing in that sacred moment, the resurrection that blooms among the ashes. You thought the miracle was when I stopped the fire from coming, but the true miracle is that you survived the fire and still know how to love. For when a soul loves after pain, it has been reborn. Ashes do not conceal endings. They bear witness to transformation. Just as a seed must decay before it can sprout, so must the soul go through a season of dissolution to awaken into new life. Nothing in you has been burned in vain. Every scar, every loss, every silent cry is becoming a stone in the glorious temple I am building from your very life. Remember this. Every resurrection begins in silence. When Jesus lay in the tomb, the world believed hope had died. There was no light, no thunder of miracles, only the stillness of stone. Yet within that stillness, the power of heaven was moving. Life was being rewoven in the unseen. So it is with you. When you feel nothing, when no sign appears, that is when the miracle is being woven within your soul. Cells are responding to the call of the Spirit. Parts of your soul thought long dead are stirring again. Resurrection always begins in the quiet. Oh, my beloved soul, I know you are weary. Sometimes after the storm, what you need is not a promise of the future, but a place to rest your head. I am in that place. Rest in me. You do not need to do anything right now. You do not need to prove your strength. You do not need to rise too soon. Just sit in my presence and let my breath restore you. I will rebuild your soul piece by piece, not by your might, but by my grace. My child, grace is not like earthly strength. It does not arrive with thunder, but with the soft rain upon dry ground. It does not force you to stand. It invites you to live again. It does not merely wipe your tears. It turns them into seeds of hope. When grace touches you, you no longer strive to believe you want to believe. You no longer force yourself to forgive you want to forgive. You no longer struggle to love. Love flows naturally, like a stream from its source. For grace does not tell you what to do. Grace makes you who you are. I know there are parts of your past you still fear to touch, memories like shards of glass that cut your heart at a single thought. But my child, let me take your hand and walk you through each one. I will not let you bleed. I will place light upon every wound. Each fragment, when held up to my light, will become a crystal reflecting glory. You will no longer fear your past, for you will see it as the stage upon which my grace was revealed. Look back on your journey. Everything that seemed a loss was truly my invitation to bring you closer. When all around you crumbled, you turned to me, and in that moment our bond was sealed tighter. Had you never broken, you would not have known how near I am. Had you never wept, you would not have felt the warmth of my hand upon your face. Had you never faced the night, you would not know how radiant my light truly is. So, my child, do not curse the ashes. Give thanks for them, for the ashes are the very ground upon which grace writes its next chapter. There are moments when you think that to be resurrected means to return to how things once were, but no, my child. Resurrection is not a return. It is an ascent into a higher realm of life. The one who has risen no longer fears death. The one who has walked through pain no longer fears being wounded. And the soul that has been resurrected is no longer bound by the things of the past. You will see that you are not only alive, but living with purpose. Not only loving, but loving through my eyes. Not only existing, but becoming a source of life for others. I am doing that to you even now. I am weaving your soul again with threads of light. Each thread is spun from faith, patience, and tears. I am rewriting your story, not erasing the painful chapters, but transforming them into the most beautiful ones. For within them you will find the strength that peace could never teach, the kindness that success could never birth, and the mercy that only those who have fallen can truly understand. I do not restore you to make you ordinary again. I transform you to make you extraordinary in me. When you are resurrected, you are not the old self repaired. You are a new creation born of the Spirit. I am placing within you a peace that the world cannot take away, a joy that does not depend on circumstances, a light that does not come from the sun but from me, the one who dwells in you. And then others will look at you and not understand. They will ask, "How can you still smile after all that has happened?" And you will answer, "Because I met him in the fire." They will ask, "How can you still love those who hurt you?" And you will say, "Because he loved me when I was unworthy." They will ask, "How can you still believe when everything has fallen apart?" And you will smile and say, "Because I have seen him rebuild everything from ashes." My child, that testimony will bring life to many weary souls. So do not hide your scars. Let them be seen. They are not marks of defeat, but medals of victory. Every scar is a line written in light, "Here grace triumphed." And as you walk, tired souls will see my glory shining through you and find hope again. You are no longer merely a survivor. You are a bearer of life. My child, no sorrow is ever wasted. In my hands, sorrow becomes hope, loss becomes witness, and tears become rivers of healing. For my grace does not merely mend what was broken, it turns the broken place into the very place of light. When you allow me to work within you, even the parts you once hid in shame will become the dwelling place of glory. For I do not simply renew the soul, I glorify it. Rise then from the ashes. Take a deep breath and sense the fragrance of new life spreading around you. It is the scent of earth after rain, the fragrance of hope after a long night. Everything around you is awakening, and so are you. I am calling your name once more, not with the voice of the past, but with the tone of the future. My child, live. And when I speak that word, everything that has died within you will hear and live again. Resurrection is not a moment, it is a process. Each day you awaken and choose to believe, to forgive, to love, to hope. You are resurrecting one more part of yourself. Every smile, every word of gratitude, every step taken in peace, all are proof that life is triumphing within you. And I who began this good work in you will bring it to completion. O my beloved soul, you have walked through fire, through ashes, and now you are stepping into the light. From the ruins of what once was, I am building in you a life that cannot be shaken. Everything you lost I will restore, not merely double but many times over. For that is my nature. I am the restorer, the redeemer, the one who makes the broken whole again. When you look back, you will see that ashes no longer speak of ruin, but bear witness that I was there. You will see that even in what seemed like an ending, I was beginning again. And you will sing as David once sang, "You turned my mourning into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy." Psalm 3:011. Live then in that resurrection, for now nothing in you belongs to the darkness anymore. Every breath carries the fragrance of heaven. Every word bears the sound of life. And I, your God, will be exalted through the very life that has been resurrected in you. Walk on, my child, no longer one of ashes, but one of glory. For I, the one who raised you up, will walk with you and never leave your side. My beloved, when the fire has faded and the ashes have turned into new soil, I see your soul beginning to shift. A deep stillness now surrounds you, no longer the silence of fear, but the quiet of peace. Your spirit is rising, no longer confined by the limits of the body or the memories of the past. You are entering a new season of your journey, the hour of union, when your soul begins to breathe in rhythm with mine. You once thought that meeting me meant seeing a clear sign, a resounding miracle, or hearing a voice from heaven. But my child, I do not dwell only in the extraordinary. I am in your breath, in your heartbeat, in the moment you pause amid the day and whisper, "Lord, I know you are here." It is then that the veil between heaven and earth dissolves. You need not climb the heavens to find me, nor descend to the depths to call me up. I am nearer than your next breath. I am within you, and you in me. Here lies what many do not understand. Union is not something to be achieved, but something to be remembered. You do not need to learn how to enter my presence. You have never left it. You only need to remember. Remember that I am the source of your life, the pulse in your heart, the light that guides your way. When your spirit awakens, it does not seek me as treasure lost outside itself. It returns to the source, to where all things began, where you and I were always one. Let me tell you, a secret of the divine union does not come through striving, but through surrender. When you cease trying to control, to comprehend, to resist what I am doing, you will realize that I was never far. Just as the wave never leaves the sea, you have never been apart from me. Every fear, every doubt, every confusion, they are but clouds that hide the sky, not erase the light. The light is still there, radiant and gentle. And when the wind of the Spirit blows through the clouds part, and the light appears, not because it just arrived, but because now you are still enough to see. O my soul, you once searched for me in the noise of the world, in prophecies, in signs, in the affirmations of others. But now you are learning to find me in silence. Silence is not the absence of sound, but the space where the voice of heaven can be heard most clearly. When you are silent, I can speak. When you are at rest, I can move. When you stop striving, I can advance. That is why I often lead you into lonely places, not to isolate, but to separate you from the noise, so that you may once again hear the whisper that was always there. This union is not merely a spiritual experience. It is a transformation in the way you live. When your spirit awakens, you no longer see things through the eyes of the flesh, but through the eyes of the Spirit. You will begin to recognize my hand in every small detail, in the way sunlight filters through a window, in the drop of rain that falls upon a leaf, in the unexpected smile of a stranger. You will see that everything reflects me, for I am the source of all. When you eat, I am there. When you work, I am there. When you weep, I am there. When you sleep, I keep watch. There will be no more line dividing sacred and secular, prayer and action, church and world. Every place you stand becomes holy ground, for you carry me within you. I know there are times you feel distant, as though I am silent. But I tell you the truth, there has never been a single moment when I was not in you. The sense of distance arises only when you try to find me with your mind instead of your heart. The mind asks, where, but the heart knows here. When your spirit awakens, you will stop asking and begin to know without needing proof, to believe without needing to see, to love without condition. That is faith, no longer as an act, but as the very essence of a soul united with the Spirit. My beloved, when you enter this union, you will discover something profound. Everything you once feared loses its power. Loneliness cannot exist, for how can you be lonely when I dwell within you? Anxiety loses its hold, for you know that everything rests safely in my hands. Even pain takes on new meaning. It is no longer an enemy, but a teacher. Everything from joy to sorrow becomes an instrument in the symphony that you and I are composing together. O chosen soul, this union does not erase your identity, it sanctifies it. I do not wish to remove you. I wish to make you whole. Just as the branch does not lose itself when joined to the vine, but by that union bears fruit, so it is with you. When you are one with me, you do not disappear, you are fulfilled. Every gift, talent, dream, and word of yours will begin to carry the frequency of heaven. You will no longer speak to be heard, but to heal. You will no longer act to achieve, but to express love. You will no longer live to prove yourself, but to glorify me. And then you will realize the greatest mystery of all. I am not only beside you, I am living within you. When you speak words of comfort, it is I speaking through you. When you place your hand upon the suffering, it is my hand that touches them. When you forgive, it is I who opens the gates of heaven for another soul. When you love, it is my love flowing through you. You do not need to strive to become like me, you were created in my image. You need only remove what clouds that image, and of all my light will naturally shine forth. This union is a living relationship, not a distant idea. It is like breath, unseen yet essential for life. When you awaken and whisper thank you, that breath becomes a prayer. When you walk through life with a tender heart, the light within you becomes a testimony. You do not need to try to be the light, you are the light, because I am the light within you. My child, I want you to understand, union does not mean the absence of trials, but the absence of fear in them. For now you know you never walk alone. When the wind rises, you will remember that I am the breath within the wind. When the waves surge, you will know that I am the ocean surrounding you. When the night falls, you will feel that I am the quiet flame burning within your heart. Nothing can separate us anymore, for you have been dissolved into me. O beloved soul, this is the season where you are called not only to live for me, but to live in me. Not merely as a supplicant, but as a companion. Not only as a child in need, but as an heir carrying your Father's inheritance. You will begin to understand the words I spoke. I and you are one. John 1:7-1. This is not a symbol, it is an eternal truth. When you believe this, every barrier dissolves. Love becomes as natural as breathing. Peace becomes your foundation, not your pursuit. Faith ceases to be effort and becomes the natural rhythm of your soul. My child, when your spirit awakens, you will begin to live in a new rhythm, the rhythm of heaven. You will speak more gently, listen more deeply, love more purely, and see with the eyes of eternity. You will realize that time is no longer your enemy. It is your companion on the journey of becoming more like me. You will know that every moment is sacred. Every word carries weight, every glance can bear life. My beloved, now as your spirit awakens, you no longer need to seek me. You have found me, and in that same moment know this, I have found you too. True peace does not come from having a calm world around you, but from finding rest within me. The world may give you moments of comfort, but only I can give you peace that cannot be shaken. That peace is not the absence of trials, it is my presence within the storm. It is not the silence of the world, but the gentle song of the Spirit within you. When you learn to rest in me, you will realize that you do not need everything to change for you to feel safe. For I am your safety no matter what surrounds you. My child, I know your soul has trembled. You have grown weary from trying to control, from seeking to understand, from carrying the weight of what lies beyond your reach. There have been nights when you could not sleep, when your heart was like water stirred by a storm. You prayed for me to calm the waves, but my child, I desire to teach you something deeper. I am not only the one who stills the storm, I am the one who teaches you to be still within it. True peace does not come when the wind ceases to blow, but when you know that I am in the boat. When Jesus slept in the boat amid the storm, his disciples cried out in fear, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" Mark 4:3-8. But you see, he was not afraid, because he knew the Father was sovereign over the sea. In the same way, I am teaching you to rest in the midst of your own storm. When you know I reign, you will stop panicking. When you believe that nothing escapes my design, you will stop struggling. When your soul learns to trust, peace will flow like a sweet river from an infinite source. My child, peace cannot dwell in a heart full of noise. You must make room for it. Just as a gentle breeze can only be felt in stillness, my peace can only be received in surrender. When you release the need to understand, to control, to win, then the cool water of peace will begin to seep into every corner of your soul. You do not need to fight every battle. You do not need to prove your worth. You only need to sit in my presence and let me do what only I can do. I know there are wounds that keep you from resting, memories that echo in the night, voices in your mind telling you to try a little harder. But weary soul, I do not ask you to try more, I ask you to rest. Rest is not resignation, it is faith in motion. It is the deep declaration of the heart that says, I trust that your hand is still working when mine are still. Rest is the highest act of faith, the silent confession that says, you are enough. Let me teach you how to rest. Rest is not the absence of activity. It is the alignment of your actions with grace, rather than striving. When you speak, let me speak through you. When you act, let me guide your hand. When you love, let me pour my love into you first. You no longer have to live by your own strength, for my grace is an unending source. I did not call you to carry the burden. I called you to lay it down. I did not ask you to run faster. I asked you to sit with me. My child, peace is the language of heaven. It is not loud nor boastful, yet it silences every voice of the world. When peace reigns within you, it quiets the winds around you. Others may panic, but you will stand firm. They may find safety in their plans, but you will find safety in my presence. And they will look at you and wonder how you remain calm amid what breaks others. They will not understand that the peace within you does not come from you. It comes from me, the one who dwells in you. Remember, my child, peace is not a fleeting emotion. It is the inheritance of those who believe in me. I have said, peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. John 1:4-7. The peace I give does not depend on circumstances, it transcends them. It is the wall that guards your soul against every arrow of fear. When my peace is within you, hurtful words cannot pierce you. When my peace covers you, waiting is no longer punishment but preparation. When my peace fills you, even darkness becomes the place where you see the light more clearly. My child, you have chased peace as though it were far away, yet peace has never left you. It has always been within you, for I am within you. The problem is not in finding it, but in releasing what hides it: worry, anger, comparison, and above all the belief that you must fend for yourself. As you let go layer by layer, you will see peace rise like a flower unfolding at dawn. Peace does not come through effort, but through surrender. Not by adding, but by releasing. Not by holding on, but by trusting. Let me teach you to breathe with peace. When you inhale, remember I am giving you life. When you exhale, release every burden. Train your soul to live in the rhythm of grace. Do not let your mind pull you into the past or push you into the future. Peace exists only in the present, for that is where I dwell. You will see when you are here, fully here, you will feel my embrace, my comfort, my smile. When you rest in me, you will see that things are not as frightening as they once seemed. What once caused anxiety will now appear small. You will realize that I have never abandoned you, and I never will. True peace does not require proof. It is the proof that I am within you, that you belong to me, and that all things are unfolding in my divine order. Imagine your soul as a still lake. When the winds of life blow, the surface ripples and the reflection distorts. But when you let me still, the wind, the waters grow calm, and they're only there, you see my reflection clearly. Peace is not just a feeling. It is the mirror of the soul. When the soul is at peace, you will see me most clearly. Step out of the whirlpool of anxiety, my child. This world will always be noisy. There will always be something to fear, to chase, to compete for. But you are not of this world. You belong to the kingdom of peace, where everything moves to the rhythm of love. There is no rush, no comparison, no what if. There is only one rhythm, the rhythm of me. When you walk in that rhythm, everything becomes light. The burden you carry turns into wings. Do not think of peace as a destination. It is the path itself. You do not have to achieve peace, for peace is the journey of living in me moment by moment. Each time you choose love over resentment, trust over doubt, stillness over reaction, you take another step along the path of peace. And one day you will realize you no longer need to hold on to peace, you have become peace. Beloved soul of mine, remember this: I never promised you would not face storms, but I promised that no wave will ever drown you. I never promised you would not weep, but I promised to wipe every tear. I never promised that every door would open, but I promised to open the one no man can shut. And through it all I have given you one promise that will never change. My peace shall be with you forever. Therefore, my child, do not fear tomorrow. Do not brace yourself against what has not yet come. Rest in me, breathe in me. Let your soul relearn the rhythm of heaven, where peace is not merely a gift but a nature. And when you truly rest in me, you will see something wondrous. Everything around you will begin to rest as well. The atmosphere of your home will grow quieter. Your words will soften. Those near you will feel at ease in your presence. For peace does not need to be spoken, it radiates. It will flow from you through your eyes, your gestures, your breath, touching the world like the wind of heaven. My child, let my peace remain within you. Do not let it be a passing moment, let it become your heartbeat. Each morning awaken and say, Lord, today I choose to rest in you. And each night close your eyes and whisper in gratitude, you have kept me in peace. For peace is not a reward. It is the inheritance of one who knows they are loved. And my child, you are that one. My beloved child, when your soul has learned to rest in my peace, something deeper begins to unfold. It is the moment when your will and heaven's will move in the same rhythm, no longer a distance between what you desire and what I ordain. You begin to sense the movement of the universe, no longer as resistance, but as harmony. This is the deepest level of union, the realm of obedience and consecration, where the soul no longer asks why but quietly says yes. My child, there is a kind of power that does not come from shouting nor from dominance but from surrender. The world calls it weakness, but heaven calls it authority. For only the soul that surrenders completely can be filled completely. When you release your own will, I can pour mine into you greater, higher, and more radiant than anything you could have imagined. When you cease trying to control, you begin to soar. When you stop wrestling against heaven's plan, you find yourself lifted by the arms of grace. I know that obedience once frightened you. You thought it meant loss of freedom, of choice, of self. But my child, obedience is not loss, it is return. When you yield to me, you do not disappear. You become most fully who you were created to be, shaped in the image I envisioned before your birth. Obedience is stepping out of the shadow of doubt into the light of trust. It is realizing that my plans are not meant to restrain you, but to release you. Look back on your journey, my child. How many times have you wearied yourself walking your own path, forcing open doors I did not open, clinging to things I asked you to release? Each time your soul grew heavier, your mind more tangled. Yet when you whispered, "Lord, not my will, but yours be done," every chain fell away, and you felt light as wind. Obedience does not imprison you. It frees you from having to be your own savior. My beloved soul, do you know why I cherish your yes? Because it is the song of heaven. When Mary heard the angel's message and answered, "Let it be to me according to your word," Luke 1:3-8, all heaven rejoiced. From that one yes, a new era began. Likewise, when you say yes to me, you do more than change your own life. You open a gate for my glory to descend upon the earth. Every yes you speak becomes a ripple of light touching other souls, releasing, healing, and awakening life within them. My child, obedience is not bowing in fear, but standing in trust. It is not born of coercion, but of love. When you know I desire only what is good, you will not fear when I say wait or no. You will understand that each door I close is because I am opening another one you have not yet seen. You will see that when I ask you to pause, it is not delay, it is protection from the cliff ahead. Obedience does not kill dreams, it guards them from premature birth. I have seen you wrestle between wanting and trusting. At times you said, "I believe," you yet deep within you still clung to your own plans. You feared that if you let go, you would lose everything. But my child, only when you let go can you receive. Hands that cling cannot open. A soul that guards the small cannot hold the great. Obedience is the opening of the heart, so that I may place within it things beyond understanding. I never take without the intent to give back in fullness. My child, imagine a river. When it flows according to the shape of the earth, it moves far, gentle, and clear. But when it tries to change its own course, it collides with rocks, stirs up waves, and turns murky. So it is with your soul. When you flow with my divine will, you will see everything align, not because the path is free of hardship, but because you no longer resist. Everything begins to fit. The pieces fall into place. The right people arrive at the right time, and you will recognize that I have been arranging all along. But when you row against the current, you only grow tired, and eventually you will learn to lay down the oars. Chosen soul, obedience is not a single act, it is a rhythm of life. Each morning when you awaken and say, "Lord, today I surrender," you place your soul in my hands. Each time you choose forgiveness over retaliation, you are saying yes. Each time you choose to wait rather than rush, you are saying yes. Each time you choose to love even when hurt, you are saying yes. And in those small daily yeses, you become the heartbeat of heaven upon the earth. My child, true obedience does not erase your identity. It reveals your essence, the essence of a child of the kingdom. When you obey, I can entrust you with more, for I cannot grant authority to one who has not learned to bow. I cannot entrust a mission to one who has not learned to trust me in the small things. Every act of obedience, no matter how small, opens the heavens a little wider over your life. And my child, consecration is the next step after obedience. Obedience says, "Yes, Lord, to my will." Consecration lives out that yes with one's whole being. It is when you do not merely hand me your plans, but your heart. When you allow me to decide the timing, the manner, and the path you are living in consecration. Consecration is not asceticism, it is freedom. Freedom from fear, from calculation, from the pressure to succeed by the world's standards. When you are consecrated, you live by the rhythm of heaven. You become as a stream in my hand, not needing to know where it will flow, only knowing that wherever I lead, there is goodness. My beloved, consecration does not occur only in prayer or at the altar, but in the smallest actions of daily life. When you cook a meal with gratitude, when you smile at a stranger, when you choose to listen patiently instead of reacting hastily, this is consecration. When you do everything as unto the Lord, the world is no longer a heavy place but holy ground. When you live this way, you and I move in one rhythm. I act through you. You love with my heart. You see through my eyes. You speak with my breath. And then the unity between heaven and earth ceases to be a metaphor and becomes a living reality. Do not fear, my child, that consecration will make you lose something. On the contrary, it will make you gain everything. When you are consecrated, you will see that all I place in your hands is multiplied, protected, and sanctified. For what you surrender to me, I never destroy, I renew. Every dream placed in my hands will return with wings. Every love offered to me will become a love that heals. Every longing merged with my will shall become the legacy of your life. And my child, when your soul reaches this point, this harmony, you will no longer struggle to obey. Obedience will become natural, like the grass bowing when the wind passes, like rivers flowing to the sea without hesitation. For you will know that my will is not foreign, but the true heartbeat of your own. Then you will live in deep joy, the joy that does not depend on outcome, but on closeness. You will know that every yes is a melody sung together with angels. My beloved child, I am inviting you to step into that stage, the stage of the one who has ceased striving and begun to flow with the current of heaven. Let your will merge with mine. Let your breath merge with my breath. Let your yes echo upon the earth so that other souls may hear and remember that there is a path to freedom, the path of surrender and love. And when you live this way, my child, the world will look at you and see something different. A person at peace amid chaos, gentle, yet strong, still, yet powerful. They will ask you the secret, and you will simply smile and say, I have ceased trying to be the light, for now I live in the source of light itself. And I, your God, will smile and say, my child, you and I, we are in rhythm, my beloved child. When your soul has learned to rest in my peace, something deeper begins to unfold. It is the moment when your will and heaven's will beat as one. There is no longer a distance between what you desire and what I ordain. You begin to feel the rhythm of the universe, not as opposition, but as harmony. This is the deepest level of union, the level of obedience and consecration, where the soul no longer asks why, but whispers yes. There is a kind of power that does not come from shouting nor from control, but from surrender. The world calls it weakness, but heaven calls it authority. For only those who surrender completely can be filled completely. When you release your own will, I can pour into you, mine greater, higher, brighter than anything you could imagine. When you stop trying to control, you begin to soar. When you stop fighting against my plan, you are lifted by the hands of grace. I know that obedience once frightened you. You thought it meant loss of freedom, of choice, of self. But my child, obedience is not loss. It is return. When you yield to me, you do not vanish. You become most yourself in the image I conceived before you were born. Obedience is stepping out of the shadow of doubt into the light of trust. It is when you realize that My plan is not meant to confine, but to set you free. Look back on your journey. How many times have you wearied yourself trying to follow your own route, forcing doors I never opened, clinging to things I asked you to release? Each time your soul grew heavier, your mind more entangled. Yet when you finally said, "Lord, not my will, but yours be done," every chain fell, and you became light as wind. Obedience does not bind you. It releases you from the burden of being your own savior. Oh, my soul, do you know why I love your yes? Because it is heaven's music. When Mary heard the angel's message and replied, "Let it be to me according to your word," Luke 1:38, all of heaven trembled with joy. From that yes, a new era began. Likewise, when you say yes to me, you do not only change your own life, you open a gate through which glory descends upon the world. Each yes from your lips sends ripples outward, touching other souls, releasing healing, awakening life within them. My child, obedience is not bowing in fear, but lifting your head in trust. It does not spring from coercion, but from love. When you know that I seek only your good, you will no longer fear when I say wait or no. You will understand that every time I close a door, I am opening a path unseen. You will realize that when I tell you to pause, it is not delay, but protection from the cliff ahead. Obedience does not kill your dreams. It guards them from being born too soon. I have seen you wrestle between wanting and trusting. Sometimes you say, "I trust you," yet deep inside you still hold your plans tightly. You fear that if you let go, you will lose everything. But my child, only when you let go can you receive. Hands that are clenched cannot open. A soul that clings to the small has no room for the great. Obedience is the opening of your heart, so that I may place within it what surpasses all understanding. I never take away what I do not intend to return multiplied. Imagine a river. When it flows according to the shape of the earth, it runs far gentle, clear, and unhindered. But when it tries to change its own course, it strikes rocks, stirs up waves, and grows muddy. So too is your soul. When you flow in the current of my divine will, you will find that everything becomes easier, not because there are no difficulties, but because you no longer resist. Everything begins to align. The pieces fall into place. The right people arrive at the right time, and you realize that I have been arranging it all along. But when you try to row against the current, you only grow weary, until at last you learn to let go of the oar. O chosen soul, obedience is not a single act, but a rhythm of life. Each morning, when you awake and say, "Lord, I surrender this day to you," you are placing your soul into my arms. Every time you choose forgiveness instead of retaliation, you are saying yes. Every time you choose to wait instead of rushing, you are saying yes. Every time you choose to love, even when you are wounded, you are saying yes. And through those small yeses, you become the heartbeat of heaven upon the earth. True obedience does not strip you of your identity. It reveals your true nature, the nature of a child of the kingdom. When you obey, I can entrust you with more, for I cannot bestow authority upon one who has not learned to bow. I cannot give a mission to one who has not yet learned to trust me in the little things. Every act of obedience, no matter how small, opens heaven a little wider over your life. Do not forget, consecration is the next step after obedience. Obedience is saying yes to my will. Consecration is living that yes with your whole life. It is when you do not merely hand me your plans, but your heart. When you allow me to determine the time, the way, and the path you are living in consecration. Consecration is not asceticism, it is freedom. Freedom from fear, from calculation, from the need to succeed by the world's measures. When you are consecrated, you breathe with the rhythm of heaven. You become like a stream in my hand, not needing to know where it will flow, only trusting that wherever I lead, there is goodness. Consecration does not occur only in prayer or at the altar, but in the smallest moments of daily life. When you prepare a meal with gratitude, when you smile at a stranger, when you choose patience instead of quick reaction, that is consecration. When you do everything as unto the Lord, the world ceases to be heavy and becomes holy ground. When you live this way, you and I move as one rhythm. I act through you. You love with my heart, you see through my eyes, you speak with my breath. And then the unity between heaven and earth ceases to be a metaphor, it becomes reality. Do not fear, my child, that consecration will make you lose anything. On the contrary, it will cause you to gain all things. When you are consecrated, you will see that all I have placed in your hands becomes multiplied, protected, and sanctified. For what you entrust to me, I never lose, I renew. Every dream placed in my hands will be returned with wings. Every love offered to me will become a love that heals. Every desire surrendered to my will become the inheritance of your life. And my child, when your soul reaches this place, this point of harmony, you will find that you no longer strive to obey. Obedience becomes natural, like the grass bending in the wind, like the river flowing to the sea without hesitation. For you will know that my will is not foreign, but the very heartbeat of your own soul. Then you will live in deep joy, a joy not dependent on outcome, but born of closeness. You will understand that every yes is a melody sung in unison with the angels. My beloved, I am inviting you into that place, the stage of one who has ceased to struggle and begun to drift in the current of heaven. Let your will blend with mine, your breath with my breath. Let your yes resound upon the earth, that other souls may hear and remember that there is a way to freedom, the way of surrender through love. And when you live this way, my child, the world will look upon you and see something different, a person at peace amid storms, gentle yet strong, silent yet powerful. They will ask for your secret, and you will simply smile and say, I have ceased trying to be the light, for now I live in the source of light. And I, your God, will smile and say, my child, you and I, we are in rhythm. My child, you have learned to rest in peace, to obey in consecration, and now I desire to lead you deeper to the place where faith is no longer a concept but a living source. For there will be seasons in your life when the light seems to fade, and you must learn to believe in the dark, to believe, not when you see, but when there is nothing left to see, to believe. Not because things are easy, but because you know I am still there even when you cannot feel me. True faith is not proven when everything prospers, but when all seems to fall apart. When you pray and hear no answer, when you wait and see no change, when you walk not knowing where you are going, that is when faith is born. Not the shallow faith that depends on results, but the deep faith built on relationships. True faith needs no proof, for my presence itself is proof. You do not need to see the road when you are holding my hand. You only need to walk. Darkness is not the enemy of faith. It is the soil in which faith takes root. In the light you see with your eyes. In the dark you see with your heart. When every lamp around you goes out, I kindle a candle within you. That candle is faith. And sometimes I allow the night to linger, not because I have forgotten you, but because I want you to learn that the true light is not outside of you, but within you. Once you understand this, no night will ever be able to swallow you again. My beloved soul, faith does not grow in safety. It matures in trial. You cannot learn to fly without looking into the depth below. You cannot learn to stand firm without facing strong winds. You cannot learn to trust without moments when everything you depended on crumbles. And in those moments I do not abandon you. I only step back far enough for you to learn to walk by the legs of faith, not by the emotions of sight. I see every tear that falls in the night. You ask, Lord, do you see? Do you hear? And the answer is yes. I see, I hear, and more than that, I am there. I am in your breath, in the sighs too deep for words, in the trembling rhythm of your heart amid the silence. You think you are standing alone, but truly you are standing in the palm of my hand. I surround you, as the wind surrounds the flame, not to extinguish it, but to protect it from dying out. Do not forget, faith is a small light that outshines the deepest night. It is not always radiant, but it never goes out. Sometimes it flickers faintly, yet I need only a spark to work wonders. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, "Move," and it will move. Matthew 1:7-20. You do not need great faith. You need genuine faith. True faith is not measured by size, but by its roots. If your roots go deep in me, no storm can uproot you. You have asked, "Why does God stay silent?" But my child, my silence is not absence. Just as a teacher is silent during the test, I am silent so that you may reveal what you have learned. I do not withhold my voice to punish, but to refine. For faith cannot mature if you always need to hear my voice in order to believe I am near. Sometimes I hide my face, not to make you fear, but to make you seek. And in that seeking you will discover that you no longer need to see me, because you have become the place where I dwell. My child, darkness is only fearful to those who forget they carry the light. But you bear within you the spark of my spirit. Each time you praise in pain, that light flares brighter. Each time you forgive instead of hate, it expands. Each time you choose to believe when everything seems against you, it shines far enough to reach other souls still sitting in their night. Your faith not only saves you, it becomes a lantern for others. O chosen soul, know this: faith does not promise you will never fall, but it promises that each time you fall, I will be there to lift you. Faith does not stop your tears, but it makes your tears sacred. Faith does not remove the night, but it gives meaning to the night. And when morning comes, you will know that it was the darkness itself that taught you how to recognize the light. Remember this: the strongest souls are not those who never tremble, but those who tremble and still walk forward. Faith does not make you insensitive, it makes you steadfast. It does not make you hard, but tender without breaking. Faith is not just a declaration. It is how you live one day at a time when you have nothing to hold on to but my promise. I see how your heart wavers. You want to believe, yet you want to understand. You want to step, yet you fear the fall. You want to surrender, yet you fear the loss. I know, my child, I know, for in that very struggle I am shaping faith. Faith is not forged by promises, but by the space between promise and fulfillment. That distance is what makes your soul mature, teaching you to live by trust, not by sight. When you learn to believe in the dark, you will see something wondrous. The darkness is no longer an enemy, but a canvas on which the light shines brighter. Without the night, how could you see the stars? Without the trial, how could you see how great I am? It is in the night that I carve your name upon the heavens with light. It is in solitude that you hear my voice most clearly. It is in loss that you feel my hand most tightly holding yours. Beloved soul, faith is the small lamp I have placed within you, so that you will never lose your way. Keep it burning, and you will always find your path home. You may not see the whole road, but I only need you to see the next step. For I do not call you to understand, I call you to walk. Walk by faith, not by feeling. Walk even when your heart still trembles, for only when you step forward will you find that I have been waiting at the end of the path. Faith does not need to be perfect, it only needs to be true. When you whisper, "Lord, I believe, help my unbelief," I smile. For I am not searching for souls without doubt, but for souls honest within their doubt. True faith does not deny fear, it stands firm amid fear. It does not pretend to be strong, it keeps walking while weak. And that kind of faith makes heaven tremble. You long to see results, but sometimes I delay, not because I forget, but because I am preparing something far greater than what you asked. If I gave you what you prayed for before you were ready, the blessing could become a burden. But when you learn to trust before receiving, you open the door to receive more than you dreamed. For faith does not only change circumstances, it transforms the person. I am teaching you to walk as Abraham did, believing without knowing where, to trust as Joseph did even when betrayed, to stand as Job did even when all was lost. And when you learn to walk like this, you become living proof to every soul that darkness can never overcome the one who carries the light. So when the night returns, do not fear. Close your eyes and whisper, "Your light is within me." Let faith be your candle, lighting each step. Let my word be your foundation, for your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119, 105. And when you walk through that night, you will look back and realize faith did not just help you survive, it made you shine. My beloved soul, faith does not grow in safety, it matures in trial. You cannot learn to fly without first looking into the depths below. You cannot learn to stand firm without the wind that pushes against you. You cannot learn to trust without the moments when all that you leaned upon collapses. And in those very moments, I do not abandon you. I simply step back just far enough for you to learn to walk with the legs of faith, not with the crutch of emotion. I see every tear that falls in the night. You ask, Lord, do you see? Do you hear? And the answer is, yes, I see, I hear, and more than that, I am there. I am in your breath, in the sigh that never finds words, in the trembling beat of your heart amid the silence of the night. You think you stand alone, but in truth, you stand within the palm of my hand. I surround you as the wind surrounds the flame, not to extinguish it, but to shield it from fading. Do not forget, faith is a small light, stronger than the deepest darkness. It is not always brilliant, but it never dies. Sometimes it flickers weakly, yet I need only a spark to work miracles. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, "Move from here to there," and it will move. Matthew 1:7-20. You do not need great faith. You need true faith. For true faith is not measured by its size, but by its roots. If your roots are deep in me, no storm can uproot you. You once asked, why does God stay silent? But my child, my silence is not my absence. Just as a teacher remains quiet while the student takes the test, I am silent that you may prove what you have learned. I do not keep silent to punish, but to purify. For faith cannot mature if you must always hear my voice to believe that I am near. Sometimes I hide my face not to make you afraid, but to make you seek. And in that seeking you will find that you no longer need to see me, because you have become the dwelling place of my presence. My child, darkness is fearful only to those who forget that they carry the light. But you carry within you the flame of my spirit. Each time you praise amid pain, that flame burns brighter. Each time you forgive instead of resent, its light expands. Each time you choose to believe, though everything seems against you, that light reaches further, touching souls still sitting in their night. Your faith does not only save you, it becomes a path for others to follow. O chosen soul, I want you to understand this. Faith does not promise that you will never fall, but it promises that each time you do, I will be there to lift you. Faith does not stop your tears, but it makes them holy. Faith does not remove the night, but it reveals meaning within it. And when morning comes, you will know that it was the night itself that taught you how to recognize the dawn. Remember this: the strongest souls are not those who have never trembled, but those who trembled and still moved forward. Faith does not make you unfeeling, it makes you steadfast. It does not make you hard, it makes you tender, yet unbroken. Faith is not merely a declaration. It is the way you live each day, even when nothing seems certain. But my promise, I see your heart waver. You want to believe, yet you also want to understand. You want to step forward, yet you fear the fall. You want to surrender, yet you fear the loss. I know, my child, I know. For it is in that very tension that I am shaping faith. Faith is not forged by promises fulfilled, but by the silence between promise and fulfillment. That distance matures your soul, teaching you to live by trust, not by sight. When you learn to trust in the dark, you will see something wondrous. The darkness is no longer an enemy, but the backdrop where the light shines most brightly. Without the night, how could you see the stars? Without trial, how could you see how great I am? It is in the night that I write your name upon the heavens in light. It is in solitude that you hear my voice most clearly. It is in loss that you feel my hand holding you most tightly. Beloved soul, faith is the small lamp I have placed within you so that you will never lose your way. Keep it burning, and you will always find your way home. You may not see the whole path, but I only ask that you see the next step, for I do not call you to understand. I call you to walk. Walk by faith, not by feeling. Walk even when your heart still trembles, for only when you step forward will you discover that I have been waiting at the end of the road. Faith does not need perfection, it needs truth. When you whisper, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief, I smile. For I do not seek souls without doubt, but souls honest in their doubt. True faith does not deny fear, it stands firm within fear. It does not pretend to be strong, it keeps walking while weak. And that kind of faith makes heaven tremble. You long to see results, but sometimes I delay, not because I forget, but because I am preparing something greater than you have asked. If I gave you what you wanted before you were ready, the blessing could become a burden. But when you learn to believe before receiving, you open the door to far more than you dreamed. For faith does not merely change circumstances, it transforms the soul. I am teaching you to walk as Abraham did, believing though he knew not where, to trust as Joseph did even when betrayed, to stand as Job did even when all was lost. And when you learn to walk this way, you will become living proof to every soul that darkness can never overcome the one who carries the light. So when night comes again, do not fear. Close your eyes and whisper, your light is within me. Let faith be your candle lighting each step. Let my word be your foundation, for your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. And when you walk through that darkness, you will look back and see faith did not only help you survive, it made you shine. My beloved child, you have learned to rest in peace, to obey and surrender, and now I desire to lead you deeper to the place where faith is no longer a concept, but a source of life. For there will be seasons when the light seems to fade, and you must learn to believe in the dark, to believe not when you see, but when there is nothing left to see. To believe not because it is easy, but because you know I am still there, even when you cannot feel me. My child, true faith is not tested when all is well, but when everything falls apart. When you pray and hear no answer, when you wait and nothing seems to change, when you walk forward not knowing where you are going, that is when faith is born. Not the shallow faith that depends on results, but the deep faith built through relationships. True faith does not need evidence, for my presence itself is the evidence. You do not need to see the path when you are holding my hand, you only need to take the next step. Darkness is not the enemy of faith. It is the soil where faith takes root. In the light, you see with your eyes. In the dark, you see with your heart. When every lamp around you goes out, I kindle a flame within you. That flame is faith. And sometimes I allow the night to linger, not because I have forgotten you, but because I am teaching you to discover that true light is not outside of you, but within you. Once you understand this, no night can ever consume you again. Oh, my soul, faith does not grow in safety. It matures in trial. You cannot learn to fly without a cliff to look down from. You cannot learn to stand firm without winds to resist. You cannot learn to trust without moments when all you depend on collapses. And in those very moments I do not abandon you. I only step back just far enough for you to learn to walk by the feet of faith, not by the feelings of the flesh. My child, I see every tear that falls in the night. You ask, Lord, do you see? Do you hear? And my answer is yes. I see, I hear, and more than that, I am there in your breath, in the sighs that have no words, in the trembling rhythm of your heart, in the silent dark. You think you are standing alone, but in truth you are standing in the palm of my hand. I surround you, as the wind surrounds a flame, not to extinguish it, but to guard it from fading away. Faith is a small light, yet stronger than the deepest night. It is not always radiant, but it never dies. At times it is no more than a flicker, but I only need a spark of trust to work a miracle. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, "Move," and it will move. Matthew 1:7-20. You do not need great faith. You only need genuine faith. For true faith is not measured by size, but by depth. When your roots grow deep in me, no storm can uproot you. My child, I know you have asked, why is God silent? But silence is not absence. Just as a teacher is silent when the student takes the test, I am silent, so that you may prove what you have learned. I am not silent to punish, but to refine. Faith cannot mature if you always need to hear my voice to believe I am near. At times I hide my face not to make you fear, but to make you seek. And in that seeking you will discover that you no longer need to see me, for you have become the dwelling place of my presence. Darkness is only terrifying to those who forget they carry light. But you, my child, carry the flame of my spirit within you. Every time you praise in pain, that light grows brighter. Every time you forgive, instead of resent, that light expands. Every time you choose to believe, when everything seems against you, that light shines far enough to touch other souls sitting in the night. Your faith does not only save you, it lights the way for others. O chosen soul, understand, this faith does not promise you will never fall, but it promises that every time you fall, I will be there to lift you up. Faith does not stop your tears, but it makes your tears sacred. Faith does not remove the darkness, but it gives meaning to the night. And when morning comes, you will know that it was the night that taught you how to recognize the dawn. Remember this, the strongest souls are not those who never trembled, but those who trembled and still moved forward. Faith does not make you numb, it makes you steadfast. It does not make you hard, it makes you tender, yet unbroken. Faith is not merely a declaration. It is how you live day after day with nothing to rely on except my promise. My child, I see your heart when it falters. You want to believe, but you also want to understand. You want to walk, but you fear to fall. You want to surrender, but you fear to lose. I know, my child, I know. For in that tension I am shaping your faith. Faith is not forged by promises, but in the silence between promise and fulfillment. That distance matures your soul, teaching you to live by trust, not by sight. When you learn to believe in the dark, you will discover something wondrous. The dark is no longer your enemy, but the canvas where light shines brighter. Without night, how could you see the stars? Without trial, how could you know how great I am? It is in the night that I carve your name into the heavens with light. It is in solitude that you hear my voice most clearly. It is in loss that you feel my hand most closely. Beloved soul, faith is the small lamp I placed within you, so you would never lose your way. Keep it burning, and you will always find your way home. You may not see the whole path, but I only ask you to see the next step. For I do not call you to understand, I call you to walk. Walk by faith, not by sight. Walk, even when your heart trembles, for only when you walk will you find me, waiting at the end of the road. Faith need not be perfect, it need only be real. When you say, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief, I smile. For I do not seek souls without doubt, but those who are honest within their doubt. True faith does not deny fear. It stands firm in the midst of fear. It does not pretend to be strong. It walks even while weak. And that is the kind of faith that moves heaven. I know you long to see results, but sometimes I delay, not because I forget, but because I am preparing something greater than what you asked for. If I gave you what you asked for before you were ready, the blessing could become a burden. But when you learn to trust before receiving, you open the door to receive beyond what you imagined. For faith does not only change circumstances, it transforms you. I am teaching you to walk like Abraham, to believe though you do not know where you are going. To walk like Joseph, to believe though betrayed. To walk like Job, to believe though all is lost. And as you walk this way, you will become a living testimony to every soul that darkness can never overcome one who carries light. So when night comes again, do not fear. Close your eyes and whisper, "Your light is within me." Let faith be your candle lighting each step. Let my word be your foundation, for your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. And as you walk through the night, you will look back and realize faith did not merely help you survive, it made you shine, my beloved child. There will be seasons when it seems everything has fallen apart. You look around and see only the ashes of what once was. The wind howls through places that once echoed with laughter, and your heart feels heavy as stone. You ask, "Lord, can anything rise from this?" And in that question I smile. For I am the one who makes the desert bloom, the one who turns ruins into beginnings. There is no fragment too broken that my hands cannot make wondrous again. Remember, collapse is not the end. It is the breaking of the old shell so that new life can emerge. Just as a seed must crack open in the dark, damp, and silent soil before a tender shoot can pierce toward the sun, so must your soul endure breaking in order to give birth to something alive again. You feel the pain because the shell is splitting, but I rejoice, for life is about to be born. Without breaking there is no resurrection. Without winter there is no spring. Without night, you would never know the dawn is real. You have wept in loneliness, placing your hope in people, in outcomes, in promises of the world, only to watch them vanish like smoke. You have said, "I can't bear this anymore." Yet, my child, in the very moment you fell, I began rebuilding. I do not rebuild on the old foundation. I build upon the rock of faith. What you lost was not meant to destroy you, but to remove what did not belong to you. The people who left the doors that closed the chances that slipped away, all of them were woven into my delicate plan to open a greater way. I do not deny that you have suffered, but I want you to see, pain is not a full stop, it is a comma in my symphony. Every low note, every silence has its purpose. When you see only loss, I see cleansing. When you feel empty, I see space ready to be filled. When you face a dead end, I am carving a path through the very wall before you. You think I have been silent, but I have been building in the dark. For the greatest works are always formed in silence. Do not forget, hope has not died, it merely sleeps, and I, the Lord of life, am waking it. Hope is not an emotion, but a conviction that even if the night is long, the sun will rise. Even when you do not see, I am still at work. Even when you cannot hear, I am still speaking through the stillness. Even when you do not understand, I am still weaving all things together for your good. My beloved, do not fear what I am dismantling, for if you could see what I am building, you would thank me even through your tears. There are things you thought were gone forever, but I am restoring them, not in their former form, but in a more glorious one. Like the vine that is pruned and seems to die, yet in the next season bears more fruit, I am pruning your life, my child. I cut not because I hate, but because I love. I see what you cannot. I see the dead branches draining your strength, the small things hindering the great that is to come. I cannot let that remain, so I cut. But after every cut comes a season of flowers. After every tear comes a harvest of faith. I hear your cries in the night, the voice that asks, Lord, why do you allow this? And I answer, because I am teaching you to see with the eyes of heaven. You see ruins, but I see foundations. You see brokenness, but I see light seeping through the cracks. You see loss, but I see you shedding the burdens of the old. You say I have nothing left, but I say, now you are ready to receive everything. Do not hastily label it as ending what I have called beginning. Do not fear when the old road disappears, for only then will you discover the path I am opening in the wilderness. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. My child, I do not recycle what is broken. I create anew. I do not patch the old. I make all things new. What I rebuild in you will never crumble again, for it will no longer stand upon sand, but upon the rock, upon me. You will not only be restored, but reshaped. I will give you a new heart, a new mind, and new eyes to see differently. You will no longer ask me to bring things back the way they were, because you will understand the way they were is not enough for what I am preparing. I am creating within you a new being, stronger, wiser, gentler, and brighter. The scars you bear will no longer mark wounds, but testify of survival and of victory. Oh, my beloved soul, I know you are weary. You have stood amid the ashes too long. But now I say to you, rise up, clothe yourself with new strength, for I am breathing life into you. Ezekiel 3:7-5. I am reviving what seemed dead. Dreams long buried will begin to stir. Forgotten promises will awaken. And from the very place you once hurt the most, I will cause the flowers of hope to bloom. Nothing can stop it, for when I speak, all creation obeys. Hope is not merely the light at the end of the tunnel, it is the lamp you hold as you walk through it. I know you are afraid, but remember, each step you take in the dark declares that light will prevail. When you grow weary, pause and breathe, for even your breath is proof that I am still within you. When you think there is nothing left, look deep inside. There still flickers a small flame, and I am fanning it. The world may call hope an illusion, but I call it the life force of heaven. It is not built on probability, but on promise. Not grounded in evidence, but in unchanging love. When you hold on to hope, you are holding on to my heart, and when you hold on to me, nothing can make you fall. Look back to those times when you thought you would not survive, yet you did. Not because you were strong enough, but because I was there. So why now do you doubt that I will do less? I am still the same, the one who never changes. If I lifted you once, I will lift you again. If I raised you from ashes before, I will do it once more. And each time the light within you will burn brighter. For light forged in fire is the light that cannot be extinguished. Remember, this restoration is not about returning to what once was, it is the passage into what is new. When I rebuilt Jerusalem, I did not return it to its former state. I adorned it with double glory, and when I restore you, I will do the same. You will not only be healed, you will be renewed. You will not only be compensated, you will be multiplied. You will not merely rise from the ruins. You will become the living proof that I can create wonders out of what was once broken. Rise from the ashes. Look around, the light is breaking through. Open your heart and say, Lord, I believe that from the place where I fell, you will raise me up, and I will. I have done it, I am doing it, and I will do even greater things still. For I am the one who resurrects all that you thought was dead. One day you will tell the story not with the voice of one who once collapsed, but with the voice of one who has been redeemed. You will say to other souls, I have seen the darkness, but the light has overcome. And your story itself will become hope for those who are still walking through the night. Here is my promise, not a single tear you shed in the dark will be wasted. Each drop will become rain watering a new season. Every loss will become the soil for a miracle, and every pile of ashes will become the fertile ground where the flowers of life will bloom. Lift your head even while the night is thick, for dawn is coming. And when the sun rises, you will know this darkness never wins. It only serves as the backdrop against which the light shines brighter. My beloved child, you have walked through the night, stood among ashes, and learned how to believe when nothing could be seen. And now I want you to know none of it was meaningless. Every tear, every long night, every wound has been shaping you into something sacred, a bearer of light. Not merely one who has been saved, but one who carries salvation to the world. Not merely one who has been healed, but one who brings healing to others. You have been refined in the fire so that now you might become the flame itself. My child, the light you carry does not come from your own strength. It comes from me, the one who walked with you through the darkness, who wept with you, who lifted you when you fell. That light is not easily extinguished, for it was kindled from the ashes of suffering, sustained by the oil of endurance, and guarded by the breath of grace. You once thought your wounds made you weak, but I tell you this, your wounds are the very places where light escapes. When others look at you, they will not see perfection. They will see my glory shining through the cracks. Remember, true light is never loud. It does not shout to be seen. It only needs to be present. You do not have to strive to preach or to prove your faith. Simply live. Let your peace, your kindness, and your sincerity speak for you. When you walk into a room, the atmosphere will shift. When you smile, fear in others will melt away. When you take the hand of someone in pain, my spirit will flow through you like living water. That is the calling of a bearer of light, to shine without burning, to warm without forcing. My child, light is not given only to show your own path, but so that others may see theirs. What you have endured was not only to strengthen you, but to help you understand the pain of others. I let you walk through the fire so you could learn compassion, so you would not judge, but instead know how to sit beside someone in silence and say, I understand. And when you say those words, they will know you truly do, because you have been there. In that moment, my light will shine through your eyes, and they will realize they are not alone. I did not create you merely to exist, but to illuminate. Yet that light does not come from effort or display, it comes from quiet presence. When you learn to remain in me, the light will flow naturally. Like a lamp that does not struggle to shine, it simply connects to the source. You do not need to make the light appear. You only need to abide in me, and I will shine through you. Even in the moments you felt weakest, I was already using you. When you comforted someone, though your own heart was still aching, that was light. When you chose to love despite having been hurt, that was light. When you whispered thank you before seeing any outcome, that was light. And that light, small, humble, yet true, shook the heavens. For every beam of light is a victory of love over darkness. O my beloved soul, you are the living proof of my promise that no darkness can extinguish the light. You thought you had to be perfect to represent me, but I chose you in your weakness that my glory might be made complete. You do not have to shine like the sun, just be a lamp in the corner, and I will magnify it. A gentle word from you can soften a hardened heart. A single act of kindness can pull someone back from the edge of despair. You cannot fathom the power of a soul set ablaze. A bearer of light does not avoid the night, they bring light into it. Do not fear the dark places, for I am sending you there. Where you go, my light will go. Do not fear the hopeless. Draw near to them. Do not fear the barren places. Stand there and sing. Each time you do, I shine through you, and the darkness must retreat. There will be moments when you grow weary, when your light feels like it is fading. You may feel small, insignificant amid the noise of the world. But my child, even a firefly is enough to guide a wanderer through the night. Do not measure your light by its brightness, but by its truth. As long as you remain honest, loving, and faithful, you are shining. My child, a bearer of light does not merely speak about God. They live as though he lives within them. When you forgive the one who hurt you, the world sees my forgiveness. When you turn your pain into prayer, the world hears my voice. When you stand firm in trial, others will see my faithfulness in you. You do not need to preach aloud, for your life itself has become a living sermon. I have not called you to hide, but to stand in the midst of the world like a lamp placed on a hill. Yet remember, the lamp does not shine by itself, it reflects its source, and your source is me. Every moment you spend in my presence, your light is renewed. That is why I call you to stillness each day, not to escape the world, but to return to the source. Come to me, my child, so that your flame may never fade. The bearer of light is not the perfect one, but the willing one, the one who allows the light to shine through every scar, every failure, every hidden place, once filled with shame, that my grace may be revealed. What you once tried to hide will become testimony. Where you once fell will become the altar upon which I place my name. And your story, with all its cracks and imperfections, will become the lantern that helps others find their way home. My beloved child, when you live this way, you will see that your life is no longer merely a series of events, but a message. Every day, every choice, every breath speaks of me. And those who observe you will recognize that God is alive, that He loves, that He acts. They will see that He is not a distant figure confined to holy books, but one who walks within you. Your light will not shine only on days of joy, it will blaze brighter in times of trial. When the world trembles, you will stand firm. When others despair, you will smile in peace. When darkness surrounds you, you will sing. And this will lead others to ask, "Why do you remain joyful in the storm?" And you will answer, "Because I am not alone. The light of the eternal dwells within me. And I, the one who dwells in and creates light, will declare, 'My child, you have learned not only to receive light, but to become light. From now on you will go touch, warm, and illuminate. Wherever your feet step, I will go with you. Whatever words you speak, I will use. Every tear you shed, I will transform into seeds that germinate in the hearts of others.' This is your destiny, not only to be saved, but to save. Not only to be loved, but to carry love everywhere. When you live this way, every past trial will find its meaning. You will see that everything that once caused you pain now becomes material for me to compose a new song, a song of light overcoming darkness. One day when you look back, you will realize that the greatest gift you ever received was not liberation from suffering, but the light ignited from that very suffering, and that light, my child, will never go out. My child, when the light within you has been kindled, I want you to know that there is something even deeper than light, gentler than fire, and stronger than wind. This is the flow of grace. If light is the flame that illuminates, grace is the river that sustains. Light teaches you to see, but grace teaches you to live. Therefore I say to you today, let me be the living water flowing through you. Only when your soul is refreshed by grace can you live fully, love fully, and give fully. Grace is not a reward for the perfect, it is the breath for the weak. It is a river that begins at my throne, flowing through dry valleys, reaching even the deserts of your soul. I do not wait for you to be worthy before I pour. It is your need that causes me to overflow. Grace does not seek perfection, it seeks authenticity. It does not come to those who think they are enough, but to those who dare to say, I need you. When you speak these words, the river begins to flow. I know there are lands within you that have cracked places where love was betrayed, trust was doubted, hope was lost. I know, I have seen. And there I will do something new. I will let the waters of grace seep into every crack, every pain, every place you thought dead. Do not hide your barren places from me, for these are the places I love to begin. Grace fears no dirt, no depth, no darkness. It needs only a small opening and it will fill it. My child, grace does more than forgive, it transforms. Forgiveness cleanses, but grace makes new. Forgiveness washes away sin, but grace plants the seeds of new life. Many live their entire lives thankful only for forgiveness, never stepping into grace. But I will call you more. Grace does not just help you stand, it helps you soar. It does not just erase the past, it rewrites the future. As you walk in grace, everything changes. Your eyes toward others soften, your heart becomes tender, your voice grows gentle. You will no longer strive to be loved, because you know you are already loved without proof. You will no longer struggle to be good enough, for you are covered by unconditional love. You will no longer see your mistakes with shame, but with gratitude. For where sin abounds, grace abounds. Even more, Romans 5:20. Grace is like rain. It falls on the righteous and the unrighteous alike. It does not discriminate or keep score. It only flows, for this is my nature. And just as rain cannot return to the sky, grace once poured upon you cannot be withdrawn. No matter how far you go or how greatly you fail, this river will find you, surround you, touch you, and remind you, you belong to me. You once feared that grace would make you weak, dependent, or undisciplined, but no, my child. Grace does not let you surrender, it awakens you. When you truly understand that I love you, even when you fail, your soul will no longer desire to hurt me. True repentance does not arise from fear of punishment, but from the profound awareness that you are loved beyond all sin. Then you will change, not out of fear but out of gratitude, not by compulsion but by love. Let me free you from the burden of having to be enough. You were not made to live under that weight. I do not call you to be a slave to perfection. I call you my child, and I am your father. A good father does not wait for the child to stand before he holds them. Likewise, I do not wait for you to be right before I love you. My love is the root, not the reward. You do not live well to earn my love. You live well because you are already loved. My beloved, when grace begins to flow through you, it does not stop with you. Just as a river does not hoard its waters, a soul filled with grace becomes a channel for others. I do not want you only to receive, I want you to give. When you forgive, grace spreads. When you speak words of kindness instead of judgment, grace flows through your lips. When you pray for others, the living water from your heart waters their souls. My child, you are a river, not a reservoir. I know there will be times when giving causes pain, when you feel drained. But do not fear. Each time you give, I pour more. The river of grace never runs dry, for it springs from me. The more you give, the more I give. The more you love, the more I lavish love upon you. And then you will see the greatest joy is not in receiving, but in flowing. For when you flow, you live fully the purpose for which I made you to carry life wherever you go. Grace is not merely permission to be weak, it is the power to rise above weakness. Grace is heaven's energy, the wind beneath the wings of the soul. When you are weary, grace lifts you. When you are lost, grace draws you home. When you fall, grace raises you. When you have no words to pray, grace prays through you with sighs that cannot be spoken. Romans 8:26. It is not just a concept, it is life itself. Let this river flow through every part of your life, through your work, your family, your relationships, your dreams, even through old memories. Open your heart, for grace cannot flow into closed spaces. Allow me to cleanse every corner you have hidden. I come not to accuse, but to renew, not to condemn, but to heal. When my water flows, it carries debris, dust, fear, and leaves in its place a pure space where my spirit can dwell. There are people who have hurt you, memories that made you close off, and you feared that if you opened again you would shatter. But my child, I truly say, when you open, you will be healed. When you let my water flow into that land, I will make it fertile. I will turn wounds into streams. You will no longer speak of pain as one victimized, but as one redeemed. And others hearing your story will find hope for themselves. Grace not only teaches you to forgive others, but also to forgive yourself. Many times you have tormented yourself over past mistakes, even when I have already forgotten. You say, "I believe God forgives," yet still carry guilt in your heart. My child, stop. When I say forgiven, it is complete. Do not bring back what I have removed. Do not chain yourself to the judgment I have erased. Let your soul step free. Allow me to love you as if you have never sinned. For this is the nature of grace. It does not merely cover, it renews entirely. Oh, my soul, you will know true grace when you stop trying to control your relationship with me. When you no longer keep score, compare, or fear abandonment. When you understand that my love does not waver even if you change, you will find the freedom your soul has always longed for. You will stop living to please me and begin living because you know I am pleased with you, not because you are perfect, but because you belong to me. My beloved child, I desire for you to become a clear, flowing stream, never ceasing. Do not let the stones of bitterness, resentment, or pride block its path. Allow me to remove each stone, even if it causes pain. For a river sustains life only when it flows freely. Learn to let go quickly, forgive early, and love easily. This is how the waters of grace keep your soul pure and clear. When you live in this flow, the world will sense it. The weary will find rest in you. The thirsty will discover water in your words. The desperate will receive life in your gaze. You will become a small source of living water, reflecting the greater river of mine. This water never runs dry, for I am the inexhaustible source. Whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst again. Indeed, the water I give will become in them a spring of water, welling up to eternal life. John 4:14. You are that one, my child. I have placed this water within you, and it will flow forever, bringing grace to this life and the next. Therefore let me flow. Allow me to pour through you, cleansing, renewing, and spreading. Fear not dryness, for I am the river. Fear not weakness, for it is when you are weak that my waters flow strongest. Live as one who is not a reservoir but a channel of love, forgiveness, peace, and light. As you let grace flow freely through you, you will witness miracles. Your life will become a river of heaven. Everywhere you step, dry land will turn green. Every heart you touch will soften. And then you will understand I did not save you merely so you could live, but so that through you many others may live. My beloved, once the waters of grace begin to flow in you, they do more than cleanse or refresh, they transform. Grace does not stop at saving the soul. It renews the heart, the will, and your perspective on the world. As grace penetrates, you will recognize that you are no longer the same. Everything in you, thoughts, emotions, even the way you love, is reshaped by divine love. This is what I am doing to you, transforming through love. You once thought strength lay in endurance, in resilience, in visible victories. But now I want to teach you another kind of strength, the strength of love refined in grace. It is quiet, unobtrusive, yet unstoppable. This strength does not crush, it lifts. It does not possess, it gives. It does not confine, it liberates. This is the power that Jesus carried, the power of unconditional love. My child, this love is a fire that cannot be extinguished. It burns without consuming, it is hot without destroying. When I pour this love into your heart, you will see the old in you dissolve, walls of defense, memories of hurt, layers of fear. Love does not merely soothe, it restructures the soul. It makes you like me, gentle yet steadfast, soft yet strong. You once feared that loving deeply would make you vulnerable, but my child, love does not weaken, it makes you like me. And to be like me is the strongest form of existence. True love does not depend on the response of others. It is the free flow of grace. When you love with my love, you do not love to be reciprocated, but because it is your nature. Just as the sun does not shine for praise, but because it is light, so too will you love because you are love created by me. Grace does more than heal wounds. It transforms their energy. The pain that once made you bitter now becomes compassion. The hurt that made you shrink now becomes open hands. The memories that brought tears now become stories that bring healing to others. Grace can turn ashes into fragrance, tears into streams, ruins into temples. Nothing is wasted, not even pain. Beloved soul, you once tried to love by your own will, and you grew weary. You forgave out of fear and found emptiness. You served out of duty and became exhausted. But when grace works, all changes. You no longer have to struggle to love, for love becomes instinct. You do not need to forgive with reason, for your heart naturally softens. You do not need to serve to please me, for serving becomes the joy of your own soul. I do not need you to be great in the eyes of the world. I only need you to be full of grace. For the one full of grace brings heaven to earth. When you speak, your words carry the fragrance of peace. When you touch someone, they feel love without knowing why. When you walk, the atmosphere around you becomes warmer. Grace does not need to be seen, it is felt. And those who have been touched by grace are never the same again. The power of love does not come from avoiding hurt, but from allowing grace to heal it. When you let me touch places that have hurt, I do more than patch, they are renewed. Just as a broken vessel mended with gold, the cracks are no longer shameful but reflect light. I desire to do this within you. I want your wounds to become the places where grace shines most brightly. You once thought true love had to be easy, happy, and always reciprocated. But the sacred love I teach goes deeper. It is not based on emotion but on commitment. It is rooted not in time but in eternity. This love does not collapse when betrayed, for it is built not on human hearts but on mine. When you learn to love this way, you will be free. Free from the need for recognition, free from fear of hurt, free from the weariness of expectation. My beloved soul, I want your love to be as steadfast as rock, yet as gentle as water. Learn to love with the wisdom of the Holy Spirit, not with the instinct of the flesh. Sometimes love means embracing, sometimes it means letting go. Sometimes love means speaking, sometimes it means silence. Sometimes love means standing beside, sometimes it means letting go as another walks their own path. When you love in grace, you do not need to possess, for you trust that every soul is in my hands. Grace strengthens you, not so you can overcome others, but so you can overcome yourself, conquer the ego that desires, revenge the pride that seeks to be right, the fear that makes you withdraw. You will realize true strength is found when you can remain at peace, amid offense, smile amid misunderstanding, and still love amid betrayal. This is a strength the world does not understand, but heaven exalts. When grace truly penetrates, you will become a refuge for others. You will no longer be easily stirred by the world, for your soul has a deep foundation. You will no longer be drawn into disputes, for you know what is worth holding and what is to be released. You will no longer fear loss, for all that belongs to you, in me, is never truly lost. This is when love becomes power, the power of stillness, steadfastness, and divine authority. My beloved child, love is the language of heaven, and grace is its heartbeat. When you love through grace, you speak heaven's language in the midst of the world. Others may not understand your words, but they will feel them. For love needs no words, it has its own frequency. A frequency only hearts that know how to love can hear. When you live in that frequency, every place you go carries the climate of heaven. You once asked, Lord, what must I do to serve you better? And I answered, let me love through you. Do not strive to do great works to prove yourself. Do not seek extraordinary feats to be seen. Simply love. Allow grace to guide you to where it is needed. Touch whom it must touch. Speak to whom it must speak. A timely word of love is more powerful than 1,000 sermons. A heartfelt embrace is deeper than all reasoning. I do not seek the great, I seek the full of love. Beloved child, true love does not make you lose yourself. It helps you find yourself in me. When you love, you will recognize that you were created to give. When you forgive, you will find your own healing. When you humble yourself to serve, you will see that I am lifting you. And when you let me love through you, you will know what it means to live fully. This world thirsts for love more than ever. People do not need more theories. They need souls filled with grace, souls that can see the good in the guilty, hear the cry behind the laughter, love when others have let go. I call you to be one of these souls, not by effort, but by grace, not by rules, but by heart. As you live this way, the grace within you will spread like fragrance. It will soften hardened hearts, restore hope to the hopeless. You will not need to convince anyone of my presence. They will sense it through you. You will not need to prove your salvation. The peace in your eyes will be the testimony. Grace does more than change you to live differently. It changes you to live fully. You will see that love is not something to force, but something to allow. When you let me love through you, everything around you transforms. The difficulties become lovable, long days become lighter, and even pain gains meaning. Beloved soul, here is the secret of true strength. The strongest are not those who withstand every storm, but those who keep kindness amid storms. When you choose to love despite being hurt, you conquer the world. When you choose to trust despite betrayal, you shake the gates of hell. When you choose to pray rather than resent, you open the doors of heaven. Do not fear love. Do not fear openness. Do not fear misunderstanding or exploitation. Those who live in grace cannot be taken away, they can only be multiplied. Your love is a seed. It may be buried, but it will grow. It may be trampled, but it will rise. It may be forgotten, but it will bloom in its season. And one day when you look back, you will see all that you did by your own strength has faded, but all that you did through grace remains. For only love endures through time. And you, my child, are proof that grace does not just save, it transforms, beloved child. When grace flows through you and love transforms you, the next gift I desire to give is a new heart. Not a heart that has endured and struggled to survive, but a heart that knows how to live fully to the rhythm of heaven. I do not want you to merely follow the rules of faith. I want you to move in, my heartbeat, where every beat whispers, love, forgive, peace, freedom. You have lived too long with a guarded heart. You built walls to protect yourself from hurt, and I understand why. But my child, protective walls are also prisons. When you try not to be hurt, you inadvertently block the light. A shielded heart cannot be wounded, but it cannot love fully either. Today I invite you to a courageous act. Open your heart again. Let me remove the armor around your heart, not to make you weak, but to make you truly alive with every breath, every tear, every act of love. This new heart I give is not made of stone, but of flesh, soft, sensitive, responsive. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. Ezekiel 3:6-6. This heart does not live in fear, but in love. It beats not out of anxiety, but out of grace. It does not shrink from criticism, but opens to every opportunity to love. I did not create you to be always vigilant. I created you to feel the sacred life flowing through every moment. This new heart is not a symbol, it is the center of presence. With it, you will no longer need to search for me afar. You will recognize that I beat within your chest. Every heartbeat speaks, you are living in grace. Every breath testifies, I am here. You need not wait for a miracle, you are the miracle unfolding each second. My child, the old heart feared, because it depended on others' reactions. When they loved, it bloomed. When they were cold, it closed. But the new heart I give will not be swayed by external emotions, but by the presence of the Holy Spirit within. It no longer beats to the rhythm of the world, but to the rhythm of heaven. When the world is chaotic, it remains at peace. When others betray, it still loves. When fear threatens, it still trusts. For this heart does not live by reason but by faith. Some think a soft heart is weak, but I say a tender heart is a sign of spiritual strength. A heart that no longer fears hurt has been washed in grace. It may break, but it will never shatter. It may bleed, but it beats steadily. It may feel pain, but it never hardens. For it knows all things are in my hands. When you believe this pain ceases to be a threat, it becomes fertile ground for love to grow. My child, this new heart is not one that avoids pain, but one that sees through it to find meaning. When you learn to live with such a heart, every challenge becomes an opportunity to love deeper, trust stronger, and become more like me. You will stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin saying, "Lord, what are you teaching me through this?" With this new heart, you will stop running from change and start receiving it as part of the refining process. A new heart rests in grace. It no longer worries about the future, no longer condemns the past, but abides in the present. It trusts that all things are arranged for good. When you learn to breathe slowly, to listen deeply, you will feel my heartbeat merge with yours. In that moment, you will know you have never been alone. There will be times when your heart trembles, for the world can be cruel. But I want you to know, I did not give you a heart to fear, but to be courageous. Courage to love when not loved back. Courage to trust when nothing is seen. Courage to hope when all collapses. Courage to start again even after failure. For courage is not the absence of fear, but the recognition that love is stronger than fear. My beloved child, I know there are places in your heart you do not wish me to touch, wounds too deep, memories too painful. But my child, I do not touch to hurt, I touch to heal. The more you hide, the more infected the wound becomes. But when you open it, my light will enter, and the waters of grace will cleanse. You will see that what you fear facing most is exactly where I desire to perform the greatest miracle. For it is in weakness that my power is fully revealed. 2 Corinthians 1:9. When I transform your heart, I also transform the rhythm of your life. You will cease running, cease struggling, cease trying to control. You will learn to flow with the waters of grace. When I say stop, you will stop. When I say go, you will go. When I am silent, you will rest. You will no longer live by schedules, but by guidance. No longer pulled by anxiety, but led by peace. This is the heartbeat of heaven. My child, a new heart does not need to prove its worth. It knows its value is not measured by being loved by others, but by being chosen by me. It does not seek the approval of the world, for it has been sealed by heaven. It does not fear being forgotten, for your name is engraved on the palm of my hand. This heart does not tremble at praise, nor shatter at criticism. It stands firm because it knows to whom it belongs. When you live with this new heart, everything you do will carry the fragrance of heaven. Your words will be gentle, your eyes clear, and your presence will bring peace. You need not strive to become holy, for your heart has already been sanctified by love. Holiness is not about being flawless, but about living authentically in my love. The new heart does not beat to the rhythm of the world, where love is given only when received and hate grows when hurt. Your heart will beat to the rhythm of eternity, where love does not change, even when everything else does. You will love without recognition, trust despite betrayal, pray unseen, and forgive without apology. This is the heart that reflects my image, the heart of God. My child, this heart will make you different and may bring loneliness. But do not fear that loneliness, for it is the solitude of the chosen. Heaven is not in crowds, but where true love dwells. You will see that you are not alone. You are simply walking ahead of your time, living to the rhythm of eternity amidst a temporary world. Beloved child, When you allow me to change your heart, I do not take away what is precious, but only what no longer serves you. Bitterness, fear, doubt, closeness. I return to you the ability to feel, to be moved, to love, to trust, and to hope. You will laugh more deeply, cry more fully, and live more abundantly. And in that truth, I am glorified. Hear this, my soul, the new heart does not beat only for you, it beats for the world. When you love, you reveal me. When you forgive, you demonstrate my grace. When you live honestly, you reflect my truth. When you pray, you bring heaven to earth. And one day when you look back, you will understand why I allowed everything to happen to enable you to love as deeply as you now do, to understand as fully as you now do, and to live as truly as you now do. Your heart was once broken, but I have made it new. It beats stronger, shines brighter, and is freer. Now every beat sings, you have made my heart new. Hold this heart. Do not allow it to be closed by fear or disappointment. Let it continue to beat to the rhythm of heaven, the rhythm of love, peace, and endless grace. For when your heart aligns with mine, the world will recognize that I live, I love, and I am at work within you. My beloved child, now that you have heard the call and are willing to be sent, I want you to know that your mission is not a peaceful journey. Every soul sent forth steps into a spiritual battlefield where light and darkness contend not with swords, but with faith, prayer, and unconquerable love. You are not sent as the weak, but as a warrior of light, clad in the armor of eternity, equipped with the power of the Holy Spirit. You go not empty-handed, for I have entrusted you with fire. The fire I give is not like the world's fire. It does not burn the body, but purifies the soul. It does not destroy, but transforms. It does not annihilate, but brings resurrection. This fire does not come from your effort, but from my breath. The Holy Spirit breathes it into your heart, so that whenever you pray, it blazes. Whenever you sing praise, it spreads. Whenever you believe, it shines ever brighter. Every generation has those who carry the fire souls I have chosen to keep the light burning in the long night. They are misunderstood by the world, for they do not live by worldly logic. They weep when others laugh, and laugh when others despair. They see what eyes cannot see, hear what ears cannot hear. They live between two worlds, feet on the ground, but hearts beating to heaven. And you, my child, are one of them. Chosen soul, the fire I place in you is not to warm yourself, but to illuminate the world. It must not be hidden under the roof of fear, but placed atop the hill of courage. Every time you speak forgiveness, you kindle a light in the darkness. Every time you choose love over resentment, you throw a spark into the cold night. Every time you kneel in prayer, I open heaven's gates and pour out new fire, a fire that never dies. Fire can only burn in a heart that has been emptied. A heart full of anxiety, anger, and pride cannot hold fire. That is why, before placing this fire in you, I allowed you to pass through a season of emptiness to clear away the old ashes. You thought you were abandoned, but in truth I was preparing space for the flame. You thought everything in you was collapsing, but that was when I emptied the vessel to fill it with fresh oil. Those who carry the fire must know how to keep it. The world will try to extinguish it with doubt, fear, and disappointment. But I say to you, do not let the winds of life put it out. My fire does not easily die, but it must be tended with intimacy. Come to me each day in stillness, in prayer, in the Word. Each time you come, I add oil to the lamp, and when you go forth, the light within you will be enough to make darkness retreat. My beloved child, do not be surprised when darkness opposes you. Fire always confounds the shadows. When your light rises, hidden things are revealed. When you speak truth, lies tremble. When you live in love, envy cannot rest. But do not fear, for he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. 1 John 4:4. My child, there will be days when you feel weary, for the fire burns away the old. It will compel you to face yourself, to let go of what you once clung to. You will feel as though you are being tested in a furnace. But my child, the furnace is not there to destroy, but to refine. When gold is heated, it does not vanish. It loses only its impurities. When your soul is purified, it does not break, it becomes more radiant. Those who carry fire do not flee the darkness, they step into it. For light only has meaning in the night. When you enter the dark, do not ask, "Why am I here?" Ask, "Lord, whom do you want this light to touch?" Each time you stand among the suffering, the lost, the doubtful, that is when the fire within you is activated. You are not sent to merely exist, but to transform the atmosphere of that place. Sacred fire does not ignite from emotion, but from surrender. When you offer me everything, even fear, dreams, and unanswered questions, I turn all of it into fuel for the flame. The more you surrender, the stronger the fire. The more you trust, the farther the light reaches. When you release, I take hold. When you are silent, I speak. When you are weary, I lift. And when you think the flame is fading, I breathe new life into it. Chosen soul, one who carries fire, does not fight with prayer alone, but with presence. When you enter a place full of fear, the peace within you makes darkness tremble. When you look upon someone with love, invisible chains break. When you sing amid pain, heaven shakes. When you pray in opposition, the walls of spiritual prisons crack. For the fire in you does not stay silent, it acts, transforms, and brings new life. There will be times I send you to places where no one knows your name, so you may learn to burn without being seen. True fire requires no audience. It requires faithfulness. Sometimes I will call you into the storm, not to sink, but to summon fire. Like Elijah on Mount Carmel, you will see heavenly fire descend when you pray in faith, and the world will know that I am the eternal God. I place this fire in you not only for this time, but for generations yet to come. You are the bearer of the torch to pass it to those who follow. Every word you speak, every faithful action, every sincere prayer is a spark that transcends time. You may not see the full outcome, but that flame will burn through generations, touching those you will never meet. I am writing history through your life, O keeper of my fire. Do not fear feeling small. Even a tiny candle can push back a room of darkness. I do not need you to be a massive blaze, I only need you not to go out. Each time you choose faith over fear, the flame grows brighter. Each time you forgive, it spreads further. Each time you pray, the heavens light up. Do not underestimate the power of perseverance, for even small flames have warmed the world through long nights. My child, know this. Those who carry fire do not fight alone. Around you are thousands of angels, radiant warriors, who protect, uphold, and walk with you. Each time you pray, they sing. Each time you persevere, they brandish shining swords. Each time you kneel, they kneel with you. You do not see them, but they see you, and they know who you are, the one chosen to carry fire. My child, this spiritual battle does not end with the clash of swords, but with light. When the light grows strong enough, darkness vanishes on its own. This is heaven's strategy. You do not need to fight, only to burn. No need to argue, only to shine. No need to prove, only to be present. And when you maintain that light, the entire universe will bow to the power of me within you. You may not see results immediately. You may grow weary in the long battle. But I promise not a single spark within you is wasted. All is remembered. One day I will blow a revival wind across the earth, and the fire in you will join millions of other flames, creating a sea of glory. Then all nations will know that light has triumphed. Therefore, O bearer of fire, stand firm. When the winds blow, do not fear. When the night is long, do not go out. When tears fall, let them fall upon the flame. They will not extinguish it, but make it burn brighter. For in tears the fire of faith burns most purely. And I, the one who lit the flame within you, will not let it fade. I will continue to blow, to nurture, to spread it, until the world is filled with light like waters covering the seas. My beloved, when this journey reaches its climax, I want you to be still and hear the heartbeat of heaven. Deep within your soul, that sound is resounding, the triumphant song of light. It is not the noisy music of victory, but the quiet melody of fulfillment. It speaks not of an external conquest, but of the triumph within, when light overcomes darkness, when faith conquers fear, and when love transcends all limitations of the flesh. My child, every tear you have shed, every wound you have borne, every long night you have endured, all of these now merge into that great symphony. Not a single note is out of tune, not a single pain is in vain. For all has been woven by me into a song of glory, where you are no longer merely a struggler but have become a victor. Not because you are strong, but because you have held fast to the light throughout the long night. Look back upon your journey from the days of praying in solitude to the moments of standing firm amidst trials. You did not give up even when all around you seemed silent. You chose to trust when you could not see, to love when you were hurt, to praise amid tears. And this, my child, has moved heaven itself. For the triumph of the divine does not begin on the day of glory, but in the moment you decide not to let go. When you believed you were merely surviving in truth, you were already winning. When you knelt to pray for the 1,000th time, unseen by any eye, heaven trembled. When you whispered, "Lord, I still believe," in your weakest moment, that was the instant the door of glory opened. The triumph of heaven is measured not by shouts or accolades, but by steadfastness in faith. Light never fades, even when darkness seems to have won. Tears are the seeds of illumination. Silence becomes the strongest prayer, and what seems lost becomes the instrument of the greatest victory. This triumph is not only for you, but for the world that will be touched through the life you live. Every bearer of light is a note in the symphony of redemption. No one is excess, no one is useless. Every word you speak, every humble act of love contributes a pure sound to the eternal song. When you forgive, it is a string plucked. When you love, it is a drumbeat. When you pray, it is a long, resonant chord. And when you believe, that light becomes an everlasting echo within the heavenly realms. O chosen soul, you now dwell in the intersection of heaven and earth. You carry both the frailty of humanity and the glory of the Spirit. And I say to you, there is no boundary between the sacred and the ordinary, for you have learned to live perpetually in my presence. When you breathe, you pray. When you laugh, you praise. When you walk, heaven walks with you. The light you carry has reached farther than you realize. It spreads through your words, through your gaze, through patience, through silent resistance to wrongdoing, and through loving those deemed unlovable. Know that even when you feel small, the light within you has shaken the spiritual realm. The triumph of light does not end with loud drums, but in profound peace. This peace is the sign that the battle is over, that you have won. You need not do more to prove it. Your very presence, peaceful, humble, loving, is the manifestation of my glory. When your soul rests in me, heaven rejoices, for my purpose is fulfilled. You and I are one. True glory is not in human praise, but in being known by me. When you hear me call my beloved child, that is the greatest triumph your soul can hear. No title, no accolade, no accomplishment compared to being known by heaven. I have witnessed the nights you knelt in silence, the prayers no one heard, the sacrifices no one saw. All are recorded in my golden book. And now I want you to know the harvest has come. Every seed sown with tears will bloom in laughter. Every lonely prayer will become a river of blessing. Every wound that once weakened you now testifies to my power. You have passed through fire, and it did not consume you. You have crossed waters, and they did not overwhelm you. You have stood in storms, and I have held you firm. Now you are no longer merely a survivor, but a bearer of glory. Your garments no longer smell of smoke, your hands no longer tremble, your eyes no longer fear. The light within you no longer flickers, but burns steadily, purely, and sanctified. Beloved soul, you are no longer one who belongs to darkness, nor merely one who walks in the light. You are the light. Matthew 5:1-4. You no longer need to seek glory, for glory already dwells within you. You no longer need to wait for some distant day to live truly, for you are already alive in this very moment. Heaven is not far away. It beats within your heart. And when you live with that awareness, the world will know that God is among humankind. The triumphal song of light is the hymn of return, returning to the original essence, purity, love, and oneness with the Creator. You no longer need to prove your worth, for you have come to know who you are. You no longer fear the future, for you know whose hand holds yours. You no longer seek anything else, for you have found everything in me. I want you to rest in my love. No more striving, no more struggle. Let me hold you close. Let my breath mingle with yours. Let my heartbeat and your heartbeat move as one. Let every old wound dissolve in this radiant light. Let your soul know that the journey was never meaningless, that every step, every tear, and every night of waiting has led to this very moment, the moment you realize you belong to me and I belong to you. When you open your eyes, the world will no longer appear the same, for you will see all things through my light. You will see that behind every sorrow stands a doorway, behind every loss rests a promise, and behind every ending blooms a new beginning. You will walk no longer in fear, but in a peace that cannot be shaken. Therefore, let your soul join in the triumphal song. Let your voice rise not merely as sound, but as a declaration. The light has won. Sing as one who is free, live as one who is redeemed, and love as one who has seen heaven. And I, the one who began this good work within you, will bring it to completion in glory. When all things are fulfilled, you will see me standing there, not far away, but within your very heart, smiling and saying, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have kept the light. Enter now into the joy of your Lord." Thank you for listening to today's message. Please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that together we may receive the living word, build a strong and steadfast faith, and walk in the boundless love of the Lord. Amen.